I'm watching.
I'm watching.
I already hit thumbs
Should get a picture of a biting sniffing your neck.
I didn't. That would have been a good one. What's up, Freaky?
Yo.
Oh, hey, we're live. Look at that. Hey, everybody. Welcome to technically our second live broadcast here at the Hero Speak. Here we're going to be doing the vice presidential debate between
Good evening.
Kama.
From the University of Utah.
She's gonna
and
say
from
it.
the University
I'm
of
Chris.
Utah in Salt
We got
Lake
Mike.
City.
We
Welcome
got
to the first
James.
and
We got
only
Keith. We got
vice presidential debate
Brooksy
of
coming
2020.
soon. Just to
Sponsored
let you
by the
know who we
Nonpartisan
are,
Commission
and
on
hopefully you
Presidential
enjoy
Debates.
our live
I'm Susan
commentary of
Page
this
of USA
hopefully
Today.
exciting
It
debate.
is my
It's gonna
honor
be a
to moderate
blast.
this
Wait,
debate,
who's
an
Grivik
important
Industries?
part of our democracy.
That is our
In Kingsbury
temporary
Hall
production
tonight, we have a
assistant,
small and
Ryan.
socially
Thank you,
distant
Ryan.
audience,
Mm.
and we've taken extra
Ryan is our
precautions
director
during
for the
this
evening.
pandemic.
Thank
Everyone-
you.
Yeah,
among
much
other
better than
things,
last
everyone
week's.
in the audience is
Thank you,
required to
Ryan.
wear face
Gee,
masks,
thanks,
and the
guys.
candidates will be seated 12 feet
Yeah,
apart.
this is awesome.
The audience is enthusiastic about their candidates, but they've agreed to express that enthusiasm only twice. At the end of the debate,
Oh, yeah, our-
Agreed
the
to only
YouTube-
express
When I introduce the
enthusiasm
candidates.
twice.
Please
Oh.
welcome California Senator Kamala Harris and Vice
I don't think that's
President
new for
Mike
Pence.
There we go. Oh yeah,
There she
power suit.
comes.
The power suit. Got the power suit on.
And there go political Ken.
I know. And her Marge Simpson pearls.
Thank you.
Oh, no Tim's, Kamala?
No, you got the power suit on.
Wow, this is where you wear the Tim's. Kamala.
So who? How come the moderator doesn't have a?
Harris and
How come the
Vice
moderator
President
doesn't have a
Pence, thank you for
plexiglass? Like,
Oh,
We're meeting
poor
She doesn't
woman.
care.
in the first debate. We continue
getting it
to
from
go
both
treatment
sides
and
direct.
Get it from both
after
sides.
testing positive for COVID-19. We send our thoughts and prayers to them. We send our thoughts and prayers to them for their rapid and for the recovery of everyone and for the recovery of everyone afflicted by the coronavirus.
Of course we do.
Campaigns in the
Very
commission. The two
apropos.
campaigns in the commission the ground
Sure,
rules
sure,
have
sure.
agreed to the ground rules. I'm here.
I think it's going to be a much more professional debate.
Enforce them on behalf of the millions of Americans who are watching. One note: no one in either campaign or at the commission or anywhere else has been told in advance what topics I'll raise or what questions I'll ask. This 90-minute
Oh, hey,
debate will
Brooks.
be divided into 9
Thanks for
segments
joining
of
us.
about 10 minutes each. I'll
Hey,
begin
y'all.
a segment by posing a question
Brooksington.
to each of
Hey,
you.
y'all.
Sometimes the same question, sometimes a different question on the same topic. You will then have 2 minutes to answer without interruption by me or the other candidate. Then we'll take 6 minutes or so to discuss the issue. At that point, although there will always be more to say, we'll move on to the next topic. We want a debate that is lively, but Americans
Lively.
also deserve a discussion that is
That's right.
civil.
James
These
got the
are
good
tumultuous times, but we can and will have a
Whoa.
respectful exchange
Space Keith.
about the big issues facing our nation.
Cosmic Keith.
Let's
Cosmic
begin with the
Keith.
ongoing pandemic.
You just
that
went
has
Super
caused our
Saiyan.
country
Question one,
so
guys.
much. Senator Harris, the coronavirus is not under control. Over the past week, Johns Hopkins reports that 39 states have had more COVID cases over the past 7 days than in the week before. 9 states have set new records. Even if a vaccine is released soon, the next administration will face hard choices.
Put it
What would
lightly.
a Biden administration do in January and February that a Trump administration wouldn't do? Would you impose new lockdowns for businesses and schools and hotspots? A federal mandate?
They
to
would
wear
actually
masks?
believe this is a
You have
problem.
2 minutes to respond without interruption.
Thank you, Susan. Well, the American people have witnessed what is the greatest failure of any presidential administration in the history of our country.
No cutting corners there.
Let's
And here are the
let's get
facts.
right to it. Okay.
Go for the jugular. Come on.
210,000 dead people in our country in just the last several months.
It's a Mike Tyson knockout. Oh,
Over
boy.
7 million people who have contracted this disease. 1 in 5 businesses closed. We're looking at frontline workers who have been treated like sacrificial workers. We are looking at over 30 million people who in the last several months had to file for unemployment. And here's the thing. On January 28th, the vice president and the president were informed about the nature of this pandemic. They were informed that it's lethal in consequence, that it is airborne,
Pence is writing it
that
down
it will
notes.
affect
It's
young
lethal,
people.
airborne. What?
and that it would be
All news to
contracted
us.
because it is airborne. And they knew what was happening, and they didn't tell you.
Yeah, point at
Can
him.
you
Point at
imagine if
Pence.
you knew on January 28th?
Yeah, wasn't
as
Pence the
opposed to
COVID
March
guy? He was a
13th,
head COVID
what
guy,
they
right?
knew, what you
For
might have
like
done to
a day, and
prepare?
then he disappeared.
They
No,
knew
he's
and
still
they
headed the
covered it
task
up.
force.
Yeah, that's what it
The
was. Task
president
force.
said it was a hoax.
Yeah, yeah.
They
that thing.
minimized the seriousness of it. The president said, you're on one side of his ledger if you wear a mask, you're on the other side of his ledger if you don't. And in spite of all of that, today they still don't have a plan. They still don't have a plan. Well, Joe Biden does. And our plan is about what we need to do around a national strategy for contact tracing, for testing, for administration of the vaccine, and making sure that it will be free for all.
Oh,
That is the plan that Joe
Big-
Biden
big
has
point
and that
there,
I have,
free.
knowing that we have to get a hold of what has
Yeah.
been going
Don't
on.
I wanna
think-
see-
Don't think
and
we
need
didn't
to
hint
save
that.
our country.
that's right.
And Joe Biden is the best leader.
I know
to do
Trump
that,
wouldn't
and
do that.
frankly, this administration has
He'll say he'll do
forfeited
that, but he
their
won't
right
do
to
it.
re-election based on this.
Thank you, Senator Harris.
Oh, how
Vice
long was
President
that? That was
Pence,
more than 2
more
minutes.
than 210,000 Americans have died of COVID-19 since February. The U.S. death toll as a percentage of our population is higher than that of almost
Look at how
every
empty those
other
eyes
wealthy
are.
nation on Earth.
Yo, he's such
For
a
instance, our
zombie,
death
yo.
rate
Like,
is 2.5 times that of Canada next door.
You would too if you were working
You
with that
head
guy all
the
4
administration
years.
Rudy's just a
coronavirus
political
task force.
android.
Why is the U.S. death toll as a percentage of our population higher than that of almost every other wealthy
Here comes
country?
the bullshit.
Does
And you
not
have 2
compute.
minutes to respond without
gotta hear this.
interruption.
Here comes the
Susan,
Dr.
thank you.
Evil.
And I want to thank the commission and the University of Utah for hosting this event. And Senator Harris, it's a privilege to be on the stage.
Oh, here we
with you.
go.
Mother gave me permission.
You know, our nation has gone through a very challenging time this year. But I want the American people to know that from the very first day, President Donald Trump has put the health of America
Yeah.
first.
Oh, come
Before
on.
there were
This
more
is
than
what you're gonna
5
get.
cases
Hold
There's
on,
gonna
this
be
is just
straight
the
lies.
All
opening
people who had
salvos.
returned
This
from
is
China.
this is
President Donald Trump did what no other American president had ever done. And that was he suspended all travel from China, the second largest economy.
Why they keep
in the
harping on
world.
that?
Because they want to
Now,
blame China. They want to
Senator
blame.
But it
Joe
came through
Biden
Europe, though. It
opposed
came through
that
Europe.
The
decision.
strain
He
that
said it
killed
was
New York came
xenophobic
from Spain.
and
Like
hysterical.
so.
That's why they
And I
don't
can tell you,
care.
having
They
led the
just
White
want
House
a
coronavirus
name to
task
blame.
force, that decision alone by
Well,
President Trump
she's getting
bought
ready
us
to pounce.
invaluable
Just give her
time
a
to stand
second.
up the greatest national mobilization since
Look at
World
her.
War
She
II.
just she's like that
And I
kid in
believe it
school.
saved
Like, oh,
hundreds
pick
of
me,
thousands
pick
of
me.
American lives. Because with that time, we were able to reinvent testing. More than 115 million tests have been done today.
Ugh.
We were able to see to the delivery of billions of
Swallowing
supplies that our
hard and
doctors
doing the
and
long
nurses had the
blinks.
resources
It's
support
a
they
wrap
needed.
for him.
And we began really before the month of February was out to develop a vaccine.
I
and
want to
to
know what's
develop
going through her
medicines and
mind.
Therapeutics had been saving lives all along the way.
What's she drinking for
And under
dinner?
President Trump's leadership,
What she's drinking
Operation
with dinner,
Warp Speed,
that's
we
what
believe
Yeah.
we'll have literally tens of millions of doses
This
of
shit is
vaccine before the end of this year. The reality is, when you look at the Biden plan, it reads an awful lot like what President Trump and I and our task force have been doing every step. of
You
the
gotta
way.
be kidding me.
You gotta be
Quite
kidding
That
me.
is your
When
Trump
I look
did
at
he
their plan that talks about
Is that a
advancing
joke?
testing, creating new PPE,
No, he's-
developing
This
the
is what he did in the
problem.
last
That's
debate.
serious.
He just lies to the camera with
it looks
such
a little bit like
ease.
plagiarism.
Kamala,
which is
just be
something Joe
classy
Biden knows a
about it.
little bit
Just
about.
be classy
I
about
think the
it.
American people know that
Yeah,
this is
you
a
heard
president
me.
who has put
Oh,
the
she's
people of
laughing at
America
him.
first, and the American people, I believe with my heart, can be
Thank you, Vice
proud of the
President Pence.
sacrifices they have made. It's saved
Thank you,
countless
Vice
American
President
lives.
Senator Harris, would you
Oh.
like to respond?
Absolutely. Whatever the vice president is claiming the administration has done, clearly it hasn't worked. When you're looking at over 210,000 dead bodies in our country, American lives that have been lost, families that are grieving that loss. And you know, the vice president is the head of the task force
Ooh.
There it is.
and knew on January 28th how serious this was. And then, thanks to Bob Woodward, we learned that they knew about it. And then when that
What notes
was
are you taking,
exposed,
bro? Just I hope you're waiting
the
on
vice
E-pad.
president said, when
Is his
asked,
eye
"Well, why aren't
bloodshot?
y'all
Is his
telling
left
me?"
Yeah.
eye?
His left eye
He
looked
said,
bloodshot. I
"Because
noticed
the
that.
president
Oh,
wasn't
wow.
So
allowed
did so
to
did Trump,
remain
by the way,
silent."
that last week Wednesday.
Well,
He
let's
just
go
had an
ahead.
aneurysm.
Susan, this is important. And I
Or
wanna
he
add
could have
this.
just tested
Mr. Vice
positive
President, I'm
today.
speaking.
I have to
I'm
weigh in.
speaking.
You
So
can have
I
15 more
wanna-
seconds, and then we'll give the Vice President
Thank
a
you.
chance to
So I
respond.
want to ask the American people, how calm were you when you were panicked about where you're going to get your next roll of toilet paper? How calm were you when your kids were sent home from school and you didn't know when they could go back? How calm
Thank
were
you.
you
Thank
when
you,
your
Senator
children
Harris.
couldn't see your parents because you were afraid they could kill them?
Let's give Vice President Pence a chance to respond. Vice President Pence, you have 1 minute to
You
respond.
know, there's not a day gone by that I haven't thought of every American family that's lost a loved
Ah,
one.
BS.
Yo,
And I
man.
want all of you to know that
Bullshit.
you'll always be in our hearts.
Bullshit.
And in
No
our
one
prayers.
believes you, bro. Like, come on.
Yo,
But when you
he
say
may
what
be
the American
positive,
people
man.
have
Look at that
done
eye.
over these last 8
Now, you
months
can't even
hasn't
say no one
worked.
believes him. You know who believes
That's a
him.
great disservice to the sacrifices
This is all the
American people
red
have
meat for
made.
the bait, right?
I'm referring
The
to you and
reality, if
president.
I may finish, Senator, the reality is Dr. Fauci said
Will you just shut up,
everything that
man?
he told the president in the Oval Office, the
Man,
president told the American people. Now, President Trump, I will tell you, has boundless confidence in the American people, and he always spoke with confidence that we get through this
Oh.
together. But when you say it hasn't worked, when Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx and our medical experts came to us in the second week of March, they said if the president didn't take the unprecedented step of shutting down roughly half of the American economy, that we could lose 2.2 million.
Oh, so he's using the bad
Americans.
numbers to make
That's
themselves
the
feel
reality.
better.
Thank you.
They
Hold on.
also
Thank you,
said
Vice
to us,
President.
if
I
we
know what
did
he's doing. You're right,
everything
you're right.
Susan, we could still lose more than
He's negging
200,000
us.
Americans.
Vice
Now,
President
one
Pence.
life lost is too many, Susan. But
You're
the
trying to
American
neg us,
people, I
but you're
believe,
not going to
deserve
let it
credit
work.
for the sacrifices that they have made.
It would have been
putting the
20
health of their
million if
family
Trump didn't.
and their neighbors first, our doctors, our nurses, our first
Thank you, Vice
responders.
President Pence.
And I'm going to speak up on behalf of what the American people have done.
Vice President Pence, you were in the front row in a Rose Garden event 11 days ago at what seems to have been a
I'm a
super
little cutie.
spreader event for
Super
senior
spread.
administration and congressional
For
officials.
soaker.
No social distancing, few masks,
We're gonna call them
and now
super
a
predators
cluster
now.
of coronavirus
Oh,
cases
shit.
among those.
No,
How can you expect Americans
Mm.
to follow the administration's safety guidelines
Oh,
to protect
that's a good
themselves
question.
from COVID when you at the White House have not been doing so?
Ow. Yikes.
Well, the American people have demonstrated over the last
That
8
we don't need your
months
leadership.
Yeah, we don't.
that when given the facts,
bet half of
they're
them are
willing to
just
put the health
not
of their
listening.
families and their neighbors and people they don't even know first.
No, they have not.
President Trump and I have great confidence in the American people and their ability to take that information and put it into practice. In the height of the epidemic, when we were losing a heartbreaking number of 2,500 Americans a day, we surged resources to New Jersey and New York and New Orleans and Detroit. We told the American people what needed to be done, and the American
Cuomo
people
asked
made
for
the
it.
sacrifices. When the outbreak in the Sun Belt happened this summer, again, Americans stepped forward. But the reality is the work of the President of the United States goes on. A vacancy on the Supreme Court of the United
His
States
work goes on.
has come upon us, and the President introduced
I
Judge
can't
Amy
even
Coney
believe that
Barrett.
he's talking
Thank
about
you,
that
Vice
right
President.
How
now.
did we even
We're
get
talking
there?
about a
Rose Garden
super
event.
spreader event.
How did we
not
And a
even
great
this.
deal of
get there?
speculation about it. My wife
it
Karen
be-
and I
that-
were there, and
Dude, he
Because
picked
that
the
is the
illest-
super spreader event.
That was the illest spin job ever.
To this day,
And it was an
they still
outdoor
have no
event, which
national strategy.
all of our
They
scientists
still haven't
regularly
purchased
and routinely advise.
PPE
The
distributed to the
difference here
states, and they
is
keep telling the
President Trump
states,
and I trust
go
the
buy it
American
yourself.
people
He spun to
to
a
make
whole
choices in
different
the best
road.
interest
Wow.
of their
Yeah, because
health.
that's the
Joe
base. That's
Biden
the
and
hey, you
Kamala
guys want the
Harris
Supreme Court, right?
consistently talk about mandates, and not just mandates with the coronavirus, but a government takeover of health care,
Thank you. Thank you,
the
Vice
Green New
President.
Deal,
Thank you.
all
Thank you.
government control.
love her
We're about
face.
freedom and
She's just
respecting
like,
the freedom of
Green New
dude.
Deal.
Let's
Like, we're
talk
not
about
even up to that
respecting the
topic
American
yet.
people. You respect the American people when you tell them the truth. You respect the American people when you have the courage
Which we've
to be a
always
leader
done.
speaking of those things that you may not want people to hear, but they need to hear so they can protect themselves. But this administration
Speak
stood
to-
on
yes, speak
information
to
that
us.
if
Come-
you had as a
yes.
parent,
Speak
if you
to
had as
us.
a worker knowing you
Well, he
didn't
would
have
speak
enough
to
money
you.
saved
That's
up, and now you're standing in a food line because of the ineptitude
Ooh.
of
Great
the
word.
administration
Great word.
who is unwilling to speak the truth to the American people.
Burn.
So let's talk about
See,
caring
that's better
about
than
the
Biden's
American
clown
people.
comment
The American
last
people
week.
have had to sacrifice far too much
Yeah.
because of the incompetence of this administration. It is asking too much of the people.
Susan, we talked
No,
about
Vice
It
this.
is asking too much of the people.
Let-
That they would not be equipped with the information they need to help themselves to protect
Susan,
their
the
parents
President-
and
No,
their
I'm sorry.
children.
Kamala Harris, Senator Harris, I'm sorry.
It's
I meant
fine,
to
I'm
say-
Kamala.
No, you're Senator Harris to me. For life to get back to normal, Dr. Anthony Fauci and other experts say that most of the people who can be vaccinated need to be vaccinated. But half of Americans now say they wouldn't take a vaccine if it was released now.
True.
Because we
If
don't
the Trump
trust the
administration
government.
approves a vaccine
Especially
before or
after-
after
yeah.
the election, should Americans take it, and would you take it?
That's a softball question.
If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci, if the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it. Absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
There you go.
Vice President
Very-
Pence, there have
very
been a lot of
simple.
repercussions
Simple.
from this
Yeah, that was a
pandemic.
softball.
Simple.
In recent days, the president's diagnosis of COVID-19 has underscored the importance of the job that you hold and that you are seeking. That's our second topic tonight. It's the role of the vice president. One of you will make history on January 20th. You will be the vice president to the oldest president the United States has ever had. Donald Trump will be 74 years old on Inauguration Day. Joe Biden will be 78 years old. That already has raised concerns
How old
among
was
some
Reagan when he
voters,
passed?
concerns that have been sharpened by President Trump's hospitalization in recent days.
Oh, interesting.
Vice President Pence, have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with President Trump about safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability?
You
And
know
if
the
not,
answer.
do you think you
Trump
should?
will
You have
take
2
that
minutes
power to the
without it.
grave
I-
before he
Well,
would
Susan,
pass it on.
thank
I
you.
need to
but I
ask.
would like to
I need
go
to ask
back.
permission to have that conversation.
I
with
think we
Trump.
need to move on
Well,
to the
thank
issue
you,
of
but I would like to
vice
go back
presidency.
because
No, go answer the question you're being
reality is that
given.
We're going to have a vaccine, Senator, in record time. In unheard
In
of
record time.
in
That's the
less than a
scary
year.
part, right?
We have 5 companies in phase 3 clinical trials, and we're right now producing tens of millions of doses. So the fact that you
Wait,
continue
we're
to
producing
undermine
doses?
public confidence in a vaccine.
This is all part of the
if the
trial run that
vaccine
takes
emerges
months.
during the
You'll
Trump
6 months.
administration, I
Like,
think
no, the vaccine
is
is coming to
unconscionable.
everybody.
Everything's supposed to
Senator,
take
I just
months.
ask you,
They could just slide in
stop
lies
playing
without even
politics with
thinking
people's
about it.
lives. The reality is that we will have a vaccine, we believe, before the end of this year. And it will have the capacity to save countless American lives. And your
He's
continuous
delusional. There's no
undermining
vaccine coming before the end
of
of the year.
confidence in a vaccine is just, it's just unacceptable.
They'll-
And let me also
They'd be
say,
willing to release
you know, the
something.
reality
It
is
doesn't
when you
matter
talk
what it
about
does,
about
as long as he
failure
gets
in this
elected.
administration,
Of course. And then what
we
happens
actually
after
do know what
it kills
failure
people
looks
or
like in
gives
a
them.
pandemic.
You
It
know,
was 2000.
He's already killed people.
Swine flu arrived.
Hasn't
in the
made any
United
difference.
States.
you know,
Thankfully, it ended up not being as lethal as the coronavirus. But before the end of the year,
oh my God, this dude is
when
putting
Joe
me to
Biden was
sleep.
vice president of the United States, not 7.5 million people contracted the swine flu.
Is anybody
60
even
million
listening to him
Americans
anymore?
contracted the swine
Nope.
flu.
I feel like
If the swine flu had been as lethal as the coronavirus in
something in me
2009,
feels like no
when Joe
one-
Biden was vice president, we would have lost 2 million American
Wait,
lives.
would have?
His own chief of staff, Ron Klain, would say
I don't
last
even know what
year
he's talking about.
that it was
He's
pure luck.
avoiding the question
The
of
question was
putting-
about the
quote,
vice president. Have
everything
you had a
possibly
conversation with Trump
wrong.
about safeguards
we
for
learned
him
from
and his
it.
And
health
he-
for him to
he
take
would
over?
They
never
left the
talk
Strategic
about
National
that when he
never
Stockpile
did.
empty. They left an empty and hollow plan. But
Because
we still
Trump would
learned
take him
from
off
it,
as soon as
and I
after the
think
election.
the
Vice
American
President,
people,
he's
I'm
trying
gonna
to
say again,
dribble
can
out
be
the
Vice
squad.
proud
President Pence, I'm sorry,
of
your
what
time
we
is
have
up.
done. And Senator, please
Thank you, Vice
stop
President
undermining
Pence.
confidence in a vaccine.
Senator Harris, let me ask you the same question that I asked
Sure.
Vice President Pence, which is, have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with Vice President Biden about safeguards or procedures
Oh, that's the
when it comes to
Constitution?
the issue of presidential disability? And if not, and if you win the election next month, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So let me tell you, first of all, the day I got the call from Joe Biden, it was actually a Zoom call, asking me to serve with him on this ticket was probably one of the most memorable days of my life. I thought about my mother,
Rumble.
who came to the United States at the age of 19, gave birth to me at the age of 25
What's the bison hand
at
sign?
Kaiser Hospital in Oakland, California.
Bison him.
And
You guys don't have a hand
the
sign
thought
for
that
the
I'd
school?
be sitting here right now, I know
Like Texas A&M
would
and
make
all
her
those
proud,
schools?
and she must be looking down on me.
Greetings to everybody on YouTube, by the way.
You know, Joe and I were
Yeah, thanks
raised
for
in a very
joining us.
similar
Yeah.
way.
Thanks for
Greetings.
joining
We
us.
were raised with values
Do we
that are
have
about hard
a
work,
Syracuse hand
about
sign, James,
the
that I'm
value of
unaware
the
of?
dignity of public
The
service,
orange?
and about the importance of fighting for the dignity of all
The
people.
trout.
And I think Joe asked me to serve with him because
Orange
you
Juice
know, I have
Jones.
a career that included
There
being
you go.
elected the first woman
That's what I
district
remember from
attorney
Syracuse.
in San Francisco, where I created models of innovation for law enforcement in terms of reform of the
Kind of
criminal
a shitty
justice
question,
system. I was
though.
elected
Why are we
the first
concerned with presidential
woman of
disability
color
about
and black
Joe
woman
Biden?
to
You
be
know what I mean?
elected
No,
Attorney
but
General
I
of the
mean,
state
it
of
was for both
California, where I ran
presidents.
the second largest
So
department
it
of
was a
justice
fair
in the United
question. I
States,
just don't
I
think
guess,
second only to
but
the United
it's
States Department
what
of
most people
Justice.
really. Maybe some people out there
From
want to
there, I
know.
took on
I don't like
everything
her.
from
I'm
transnational criminal organizations
Huh?
to the big
She's
banks
giving
that
a
were taking
resume
advantage
answer
of
right
homeowners,
now.
Yeah,
to
she's not answering the
for-profit
question
colleges
either.
that were
Yeah,
taking
that's the
advantage of
point. She's
veterans.
just doing it better.
And then, of course, now I serve in the United States Senate as only the second black
the
woman
thing
ever
is,
elected
she
to the
can't really
United
come out and
States
say,
Senate. I serve
yeah,
on the Senate
we
Intelligence
talked
Committee,
about,
where I've been in
if Joe,
regular
something
receipt
happened.
of classified
Just
information
concerned
about
you
threats to our
that
nation
people
and
worried for no
hotspots
reason.
around the world. I've traveled the
She's
world.
basically
I've
trying
met
to tell you why
with our
she's qualified
soldiers
to
in
be a
our
president if
in
need
war
be,
zones.
not
Right.
has she had the
And I think
conversation
Joe
with
has
Joe.
asked me to serve
Exactly.
with
I
him
get it.
because
Yeah,
he
I mean,
believes
I-
that we share.
The conversation is
share a
the
purpose,
Constitution.
which is
It
about
tells you
lifting up
exactly
the
what
American
happens
people.
if the
And
president
after the
dies.
4
I
years
take
that
over.
we have
That's
seen
it.
That's
Donald
it.
Trump
There's
We
no-
have
Yeah,
peace
but
and
amplifying our
keep
but
her.
country
they're
around
saying because
our
these guys are
common
old,
values
it's not
and
about
principles.
they're
Thank you,
dying,
Senator
but they're
Harris.
health.
You know, neither,
They start losing
neither
their
President Trump
faculties,
nor
like
Vice President
you know,
Biden has
Trump with
released the sort of
the drugs he's
detailed
taking
health
and his mind
information
going
that
loopy.
had become the modern norm until the
But as a
2016
note,
election.
every
And in
old
recent
president
days,
who's
President Trump's
gotten
doctors
a
have given misleading
an
answers or
exam
refused to
where
answer
they
basic
take
questions about
where
his
they
health.
put them
And my
out
question
will
to each of
automatically
you
sign
in
over to the
turn
vice
is
president
this
temporarily.
Dude,
information
Reagan had dementia in his
voters
last couple of
deserve
years or
to
so.
know?
And they
Vice
didn't do it.
President Pence, would you like to go first?
Nancy take over, right?
Well, Susan,
Yeah.
thank you. And
I think Woodrow
let me-
Wilson's wife
let
or
me
somebody
say
like that also.
on behalf of the president and the first lady, how moved we've all been.
All right, I missed the
by
question.
the
Sorry, guys.
outpouring of
I missed it too.
prayers and concern
They'll pop it up
for
on the bottom.
president. And I do believe it's emblematic of the prayers and the concern that have ushered forth for every American impacted by the coronavirus. But the care the president received at Walter Reed Hospital,
Is socialist.
the White House doctors was
It's
exceptional.
socialist.
And the transparency that they
We paid
practiced
for
all
it.
along the way
Out of our
will
pockets,
continue.
our taxes.
The American people
I
have
mean, it
a
wasn't his
right to know
taxes.
about the health and
It
It
welfare
wasn't his
of their
taxes.
president, and will continue to do that. But I'm just extremely grateful and was more than a little moved by the broad and bipartisan support. And Senator, I want to thank you and Joe Biden for your expressions of genuine concern. And I also want to congratulate you, as I did on that phone call, on the historic nature of your nomination.
Thank you.
I never expected to be on this stage 4 years ago, so I know the feeling. But
Because nobody like me has ever
reality
been
is,
on vice president stage.
we've got
For
an
me?
election before the American people in the midst of this challenging year. And the stakes have never been higher, but I think the choice has never been
Pence.
clearer.
I want
Yeah,
to
it's like
Senator Harris a chance
he's
to
just
respond
talking
to
until the
same
moderator.
question I asked, which is, do voters
Does
have
he-
Yeah.
a right to
saying?
know more detailed health information about presidential candidates and
He's like
especially
dribble
about
into half
presidents?
court and just standing there.
Especially
Yeah, like
Oh, so the question's down here at the bottom of the ticker.
Absolutely, and that's why Joe
Oh.
Biden has been so incredibly transparent, and certainly by contrast,
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
the president has
I
not
mean,
I
on
didn't
both
even
Chris
see
terms
it.
didn't
of
know that.
health records, but also let's look at taxes.
I'm completely blind.
Yeah,
We now
I'm
know
sorry. We
because
don't
of
we don't have
great
Hulu Live
investigative
debates has
journalism
given us.
that Donald Trump paid $750 in taxes. When I
Oh,
first heard about
brought
it,
up the taxes.
I literally said, "You mean $750,000?" And it was like, "No, $750." We now know Donald Trump owes and is in debt
Wait,
for $400 million.
Let me get to this
And
topic.
just so everyone is clear, when we say in debt, it means you owe money to somebody. And it'd be
did she
really
just like
good
suck
to
her
know
teeth? No.
who the president of the United States, the
Did she suck
commander
her
in
teeth?
chief,
Sound like-
It
owes
looked like
money
that
to
from the
because
delay, the way the screen
American
is delayed. It
people
looked like
have
she
a right
the
to know
Bro,
what
It
is
sounds like she's
influencing
explaining
the
stuff to a
president's
jury.
That and the
decisions,
10
and is he
before
making those decisions on the
before
best interest of the American people, of
in
you,
my heart.
or
Got some Pepsi
self-interest?
Auntie energy.
So, Susan, I'm glad you
That's
asked about
auntie right there.
transparency, because it has to be across the board. Joe has been incredibly transparent over many, many years. The one thing we all know about Joe, he puts it all out there. He is honest, he is forthright,
Oh, come on.
but Donald Trump, on the other hand,
Susan.
has been
Thank-
about covering up everything.
Thank you, Senator Harris. I want to give you a
It's
chance.
not
to
far,
respond.
not really off.
Well, look, I respect the fact that Joe Biden spent 47 years in public life. I respect your public service as well.
Thank you.
The American people have a president
Mad.
who's a
Crazy.
businessman, who's a job creator, who's paid tens of
Job creator in
millions of
China.
dollars in taxes, payroll taxes,
For all his
property
ties and
taxes.
his,
He's created tens of thousands of American jobs. And the president said those.
Don't have-
Some of them
public
very
reports
illegal jobs
are
too.
not accurate.
Right.
And the president's also released literally stacks of financial disclosures the American people
Stacks.
can review just as the law allows. But the distinction here is that Joe Biden, 47 years in public service, compared to President Donald Trump, who brought all of that experience 4 years ago.
Thank you, Vice
And
President.
turned this
All that
economy
experience in
around by
bankruptcy
cutting
court.
taxes, rolling back
I know.
regulation,
Thank you,
unleashing
thank you, Vice
American
President
energy,
Pence.
fighting for free and fair trade.
Inheriting his
all of
pop's
that's
Thank
money.
you,
on the
Vice
line
President
If Joe
Pence.
Biden
That's right.
and Kamala Harris.
You know,
Going
that's a
bankrupt
good
twice.
segue into our third
great
topic,
segue.
which is about the economy. This has been
Okay,
another
all right, good
aspect
moderator,
of life
good
for
segue.
Americans that's been so affected by this coronavirus. We have a jobs crisis brewing. On Friday, we learned that the unemployment rate had declined to 7.9% in September, but the job growth had stalled, and that was before the latest round of layoffs and furloughs in the airline industry at Disney and elsewhere. Hundreds of thousands of discouraged workers have stopped looking for work. Nearly
Dow dropped
11
yesterday.
million jobs that existed at the beginning of the year haven't been
Yeah,
replaced.
it
Those
rebounded
hardest
today,
hit
though.
include
Yeah, I
Latinos,
saw that this
blacks,
morning,
and women.
But still,
Senator Harris, the Biden-Harris campaign has proposed new programs to boost the economy, and you would pay for that new spending by raising $4 trillion in taxes on wealthy individuals and corporations. Some economists warn that could curb entrepreneurial ventures that fuel growth and create jobs.
That trickle
Would
down
raising
stuff. Stop.
taxes put the recovery at risk? And you have 2 minutes to answer uninterrupted.
Reagan's rolling in his grave.
On the issue of the economy, I think there couldn't be a more fundamental difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Joe Biden believes you measure the health and the strength of America's economy based on the health and the strength of the American worker and the American family. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who measures the strength of the economy based on how rich people are doing, which is why he passed a tax bill benefiting the top 1% and the biggest corporations of America, leading to a $2 trillion deficit that the American people are going to have to pay for. On day one, Joe Biden will repeal that tax bill. He'll get rid of it. And what he'll do with the money is invest it in the American people. And through a plan that is about investing in infrastructure, something that Donald Trump said he would do. I remember hearing about some infrastructure week. I don't think it ever happened. But Joe Biden will do that. He'll invest in infrastructure. It's about upgrading our roads and bridges, but also investing in clean energy and renewable energy. Joe is going to invest that money in what we need to do around innovation. There was a time when our country believed in science and invested in research and development so that we were an innovation leader on the globe. Joe Biden will use that money to invest in education. So for example, for folks who want to go to a 2-year community college, it will be free. If you come from a family that makes less than $125,000, you'll go to a public university for free. And across the board, we'll make sure that if you have student loan debt, it's cut by $10,000. That's how Joe Biden thinks about the economy, which is it's about investing in the people of our country.
What happened to
You
like,
didn't see my face? I was like,
Tax bill,
wait, what happened
which
to
had the
that-
benefit of letting American corporations
that was the Bernie plan.
go offshore to do
Yeah,
their
I missed the
business.
Bernie plan for that.
I missed the
Thank you.
Bernie.
You're
plan.
welcome.
He got me with that.
Vice President Pence, your
Yeah.
administration has
They're-
been
they have
predicting
the lead-
rapid
yeah.
and robust
Yeah,
recovery.
unfortunately,
But
it's
the
a little
latest
late for
economic
my kids
report
now.
suggests that's
The hell,
not
$10,000.
happening. Should Americans be
It's like
braced
books
for
now.
Books.
economic
Yeah, that's exactly what I was
comeback that is
thinking.
gonna
It's
take
books.
not months, but a year or more? You have 2 minutes to answer uninterrupted.
When President Trump and I took office, America had gone through the slowest economic recovery since the Great Depression.
Dear Lord,
Yeah,
why?
keep
Joe
using
Biden
that
was vice
line.
president
And
to
it's
try to
wrong.
tax and spend
It's
and
false.
regulate
That's
and
false.
bail
Well, just
out
because
Exactly.
it's slow doesn't mean it's not a recovery.
President Trump cut taxes across the board. Despite what Senator Harris says,
She's
the
got
average
the
American
facts.
family of four had
Dude, that eye,
$2,000
yeah,
in
man,
savings
he's
and
he's got a
taxes.
positive case about to
And
be revealed
with the
tomorrow.
rise in wages that occurred, most predominantly for
Maybe he was
blue-collar,
smoking weed
hardworking
backstage.
Americans.
You think
The
he
average
does that?
household
I
Yo,
income
doubt
for a
it.
family
yo,
of
his
four increased by
eye is like- his eye was
$4,000
slowly getting
following
redder.
President Trump's tax cuts. But America, you just heard Senator Harris tell you, on day one, Joe Biden's going to raise your taxes.
Did she
It's
say
really
that?
remarkable to think, Susan.
I said.
I mean, right
I didn't
after
hear that.
a time where we're going through a pandemic that lost
Liars.
22 million jobs at the height.
But also the
We've already
taxes
added
they
back
they wanted to
11.6
take out of
million
your
jobs
payroll
because we had a
affect your
president who
retirement
cut
fund.
taxes, rolled back
Part of the
regulation,
issue.
unleashed American energy, fought for free and fair trade, and secured $4 trillion from the Congress of the United States to give direct payments to families, saved 50 million jobs through the Paycheck Protection Program. We literally have
Which
spared
ended.
no expense. to
Spared
help
no
the
expense,
American
except
people
he
and the
just
American
announced on
worker
Twitter
through
he
this.
wasn't going to do it
Joe
again.
Biden and
Exactly,
Kamala
until after the
Harris
election,
want to raise
if he
taxes.
wins.
They want to bury our economy under a $2 trillion Green New Deal, which you were one of the original co-sponsors of in the United States Senate. They want to abolish fossil fuels and ban fracking,
Okay.
which would cost
Yeah,
hundreds of
not a
thousands
problem.
Dude,
of
that's a
American jobs
2005
all across the
conversation. We're
heartland.
2020 now.
And Joe Biden wants to
But
go
you're
back
not-
to the
you're not
economic surrender
debating
to China.
Gore,
that when we
bro.
took
Yeah,
office, half
this is
of our
only to his
international trade
base. Even
deficit was with
independents realize
China
fossil
alone.
fuels.
You know what I'm saying?
Joe Biden wants
that
to
whole
repeal
conversation
all of the tariffs
we've gotten
that
past
President
it.
Trump
It's
put into
important
effect
for,
to
like,
fight
40
for
people.
American jobs and American workers. Joe Biden
The
says
guys who
democracy is
work
on
at
the
the
ballot.
freaking
Make no
Yeah.
mistake about
coal
it.
mine.
The
guys
American
trying to hold
economy,
open
the
the
American
last coal mine
comeback
in
is on
America.
the ballot with 4 more years of growth
Thank you.
and opportunity,
Thank you,
4
Vice
more years
President.
of President Donald Trump. 2021
Thank
is
you,
going to
Vice
be the
President.
biggest economic year in the history of
You
this
look
country.
like I
Thank you,
just
Vice
need to get through
President.
tonight.
Senator
I just need
Harris.
to get through.
Well, I mean, I thought we saw enough of it in last week's debate, but I think this is supposed to be a debate based on fact and truth. And the truth and the fact is, Joe Biden has been very clear. He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000
He said
a
he's going to
year.
repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well, wait,
I'm speaking.
it'd be important if you said the truth. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that he's going to repeal the
Yes,
Trump
which
tax
only
cuts.
helps the rich.
That was tax cuts that gave the
Well,
average
above,
working
was it
family
250?
$2,000 in a tax break.
Why
over
isn't the
the
moderator
summer.
stopping him?
Senator,
Wait. Where did I get
Absolutely
$2,000 from?
is he only cutting? Is he only going to repeal part of the Trump tax cuts?
If you don't mind letting me finish, we can then
Can I
have a
finish?
conversation. Okay?
Can I finish?
Please.
Okay.
Don't get too
Joe Biden will
sassy.
not raise taxes on anyone who makes less than $400,000 a year. He has been very clear
It's
about
on his
that.
website.
Joe Biden will not end fracking. He has been very clear about
Oh,
that.
I don't like
that
that.
was Bernie wanted to end fracking
Joe Biden
and Warren.
is the one who, during the Great Recession, was responsible for the Recovery Act that brought America back. And now the Trump-Pence administration wants to take credit when they rode the
I mean, technically it was
coattails
Obama.
of Joe Biden's
but
success
I know.
for the economy that
Obama
they had at the
is
beginning of their
basically
term. Of course,
Biden
now the
in their
economy
eyes.
is a complete disaster. But Joe Biden, on the one hand, did that. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who has reigned over a recession that is being compared to the Great
Depression.
On the one hand, you have Joe Biden, who was responsible with President Barack Obama
Okay, there we go.
for the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah, their
which
last
brought
3
healthcare
years
to
is
over
better
20
than
million
Trump's first
Americans
3
and
years.
protected people with
Mhm.
pre-existing conditions. And what it
facts.
also did is it saved those families who otherwise were going bankrupt because of hospital bills they could not afford. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who's in court right now, trying to get rid of
Thank you, Senator
trying to
Harris.
get rid of the Affordable Care Act, which means that you will lose protections if you have pre-existing conditions. And this is very important, Susan.
Yes,
and it's
but we
important
need to
clear-
give Vice President.
I'd
Pence a
just like
chance
to,
to
he
respond.
interrupted me, and I'd like to just finish, please. If you have a pre-existing condition,
Which includes COVID.
heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer,
COVID.
they're coming for you.
COVID.
If you love someone who has a pre-existing
nonsense.
condition,
Thank
they're
you, Senator
coming
Harris.
for you. If you are
Nonsense.
under the age of 26 on your parents' coverage, they're coming for you.
Senator
They're
Harris, thank
coming
you.
for
Let me
you?
give
Wow,
a chance
that's
to
some
respond.
specific
Well, I hope we have a
language.
chance to talk about health care because
There you go.
Obamacare was a disaster.
No, I know some
People
independents,
remember well.
even in my town, that this is a
President
big
Trump and I
issue
have a
for. They do
plan
not want to
to
lose,
improve health
you know,
care and to
this.
protect
They may
pre-existing
not like,
conditions for every
quote unquote, the left wing,
American.
but they do love that.
But look, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your
Oh,
own
good
facts.
Lord.
You yourself said on
line.
multiple occasions when you were running for president that you would ban fracking. Joe Biden looked at a
Like,
supporter
this
in the
is
eye
not a bad
and pointed
thing.
and said, I
No, this is good.
guarantee
Banning
for that.
fracking.
abolish fossil fuels. They have a $2 trillion version of the Green New Deal, Susan, that your
Keeps bringing
newspaper,
the-
USA Today, said really wasn't that very different from the original Green New Deal. More taxes, more
This is such a
jobs, by
weird
the way.
argument. Like,
banning
oh, they want to
fracking,
help the environment.
abolishing
How
fossil
dare they?
fuel,
Yeah, by
crushing
creating new
American energy,
jobs to
and
pay
economic
offset
surrender
that
to
in a
China
10, 15
is
year.
a prescription
Yeah,
for
how dare they
economic
create a
decline.
whole
President
industry?
Trump and I will keep America
Fossil fuel ain't
growing.
creating
The
anything, and it's
V-shaped
impacting
recovery
the
that's
environment and
underway
burning
right
California.
now will
There's
continue the
fires
4 more
behind
years of
Brooksy
President
right
Donald
now.
Trump in the White
Thank you very, very much, Vice
He's like,
President Pence. Once again, you
Nah.
provided the
Didn't say
perfect
that.
segue to
That
our
was
topic,
that was a
which
cat,
is
I think.
climate change. And Vice President Pence, I'd like to pose the first question to you. This year, we've seen record-setting hurricanes in the south. Another one, Hurricane Delta, is now threatening the Gulf. And we have seen record-setting wildfires in the west. Do you believe,
And you
as the
you failed to
scientific
help Puerto
community
Rico.
has concluded, that man-made climate
According to the
change
governor.
has made wildfires bigger, hotter, and more deadly, and have made hurricanes wetter, slower,
Wetter,
and more damaging?
Wetter.
You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Dumping more
Thank you,
rain.
Susan.
more turbid.
Well, first, I'm very proud of our record on the environment and on conservation. According to all of the best estimates, our air and land are cleaner than any time ever recorded. And our water is among the cleanest in the world.
Is the
And
water
just
in
a little while
Frederick?
ago, the president signed the Outdoors Act. It's the largest investment in our public lands
He's
and
reading
public
right out
parks
the Trump playbook.
in 100 years.
He's doing a good
So
job.
President
He's doing a
Trump
good
has
job.
made a commitment to conservation.
Right
and
now,
to the
I'm not going to
environment.
say
Now, with regard to climate
losing.
change, the climate
But he's
is changing.
lying.
yeah,
The-
but
the issue
but the
is,
average
the
guy
cause,
who's looking
and
or
what do we do
girl who's
about
looking
it?
to vote is
President
like
Trump has made it clear that we're
alright,
going to continue to
stating his
listen to
case.
science.
You know, he's not like Trump
Now,
who's
Joe
going
Biden
ballistic last week.
And Kamala
The average
Harris would put us
person,
back
if
in
you
the
go sit
Paris
down
Climate
and-
Accord. They'd impose the Green New Deal,
I'm betting that
which would
average
crush
person
American
will
energy, would
probably
increase the
also
energy
is doing
costs of
as
American
well.
families in their
Keith, we
homes.
could barely hear you, by the way.
Literally would crush American
I couldn't either.
jobs.
I couldn't hear what you were
President Trump
saying.
and I believe that the progress that we
Unless
have
people are
made
having political
cleaner
fact check running
environment
on the other side
has
of the
been
screen,
happening precisely
they're gonna take
because
his
we
word
have
at
a
face.
strong free
This is
market
this is what
economy.
makes him
You know,
more
what's
almost
remarkable
more
is
insidious
the
than
United
Trump.
States
Is
has
that
reduced
straight
CO2
face,
more
honest
than the
look,
countries that are
but
still in
lying.
the
He
Paris
makes
Climate
it
as
sound
Accord, but we've done
truthful,
it through
unlike
innovation.
Trump, where you could see right through that
And
used
we've
car
done it through
salesman deal.
natural gas and fracking, which, Senator, the
He's
American
bringing
people can
fracking.
go look at the record. I know Joe Biden says otherwise now, as you do, but the both of you repeatedly committed to abolishing fossil fuel and banning fracking. And so by creating the kind of American innovation, we're actually
Looking like
steering toward a
Montgomery Burns
stronger
right
and
now.
better
Talk about
environment.
the
With regard
freaking
to wildfires,
Springfield nuclear
President Trump and I
plant.
believe that forest management has to be front and center. And even
Excellent.
Governor Gavin Newsom from your state has
Fracking,
agreed we've got to
excellent.
work on forest management. And with regard to hurricanes, the National Oceanic Administration tells us that actually, as difficult
you.
as they are,
Thank you, Vice President.
there are no more hurricanes today than
Thank
there
you.
were 100 years ago.
That's
you.
But
that's
many
a
of the
bull-faced lie.
climate alarmists
President Pence,
use
I'm sorry your time is
hurricanes
up.
and wildfires to try and
Thank
sell
you,
their
Vice
bill of
President
goods of a
Pence.
Green New Deal. And
All
President
right,
Trump
Kamala,
and
you
I
gotta.
always
This is
put
where you
American
throw a
jobs and
knockout
American
punch here.
workers
Come on.
first.
Senator
Kamala.
Harris,
Kamala,
as
sorry.
the Vice
I
President
should
mentioned,
know.
you
I know.
co-sponsored the
It's
Green New Deal in Congress.
brain
But
fart.
Vice President Biden said in last week's debate
She's
that
not
he
gonna
does
get a
not
chance.
support the Green New Deal. But if you look at the Biden-Harris campaign website, it describes the Green New Deal as a crucial
Oh, okay,
framework.
okay, they are doing it.
What exactly would be the stance of a Biden-Harris administration toward the Green New Deal? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Sure. So first of all, I will repeat, and the American people know, that Joe Biden will not ban fracking. That is a fact. That is a fact. I will repeat
Oh,
that
come on.
Joe Biden has been very clear that he
Stop
thinks
worrying
that
about that.
No,
growing
that's
jobs, which is
Pennsylvania,
why
though.
he
That's a
will
swing
not
state.
increase taxes
I hear.
for
I see what
anyone who
she's
makes
doing.
less than
Swing state.
$400,000 a year. Joe Biden's economic plan, Moody's, which is a reputable
I'm actually
Wall
looking
Street
at
firm,
their.
has said will
site.
create 7 million more jobs than Donald Trump's. And part of those jobs that will be created by Joe
Let's see if I
Biden
see fracking.
are going to be about
Fracking.
clean energy
Sorry,
and
fracking
renewable
needs to go
energy.
though.
It's not even on their
Because
website.
you see, Joe
Yeah,
understands
there's no conversation about fracking
that
on their.
the west coast of our country is
Clean
burning,
energy deal.
including my home state of California. Joe sees what is happening on the Gulf
Fracking's
states,
gonna go away.
which are being
I
battered
know,
by
but
storms.
it's a hot topic
Joe
right
has
now.
Yeah,
for-
no,
been
no,
talking
yeah, I
For the
with
swing
wouldn't even,
state.
farmers in
I
Iowa.
wouldn't even waste any
whose
time.
entire
Yeah,
crops have
I
been
do
destroyed
exactly what
because of
she's doing on
floods.
it right now.
And so Joe believes, again, in science. I'll tell you something, Susan. I served, when I first got to the Senate, on the committee that's responsible for the environment.
She
You know,
needs to
this
go back to
administration
speaking to the camera though.
took the word
Yeah,
science
I agree. Not the
off
moderator.
website,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't, yeah.
and then took
Like
the
she was
phrase
doing that
climate
very
change
well at the
off
beginning.
website. We have seen a pattern with this administration, which is they don't believe in science. And Joe's plan is about saying we're going to deal with it, but we're also going to create jobs. Donald Trump, when asked about the wildfires,
It's
in
weird how they
California,
have to be
and
dick
the
riders
question
to
was,
their-
the
to their
science is telling us
bosses.
this. You know what Donald Trump said?
I mean,
Yeah.
they're
Science
VPs,
doesn't
dude.
know.
They're
Yeah, but
Yeah,
like,
people
okay.
vote for
Let's
president,
talk
not
about
for
who
vice
is
president.
prepared to
Right.
lead our country over the course of the next 4 years on what is an existential threat to us as human beings. Joe is about saying we're going to invest that in renewable energy. It's going to be about the creation of millions of jobs. We will achieve
She keeps bringing jobs into it, which is a
zero
good,
emissions by
smart.
Which is a good thing.
2050,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
carbon
Jobs,
neutral
jobs,
by
jobs.
2035. Joe has a
There's a
plan.
there's a large amount of people
This has
watching
been a
this
lot
that
of
are
talk from the Trump
unemployed and
administration, and
furloughed.
really it has been to go backward instead of forward. We will also re-enter the climate agreement with pride.
Senator Harris just said that climate change is an existential threat. Vice President Pence, do you believe that climate change poses an existential threat?
As I said, Susan, the climate is changing. We'll follow the science.
Yeah,
When did you say that?
avoiding it.
Once again, Senator Harris
Avoided the question completely.
is denying the fact that they're going to raise taxes on
Oh.
every American. Joe Biden said twice.
Yeah, he's bringing it back to taxes.
And on day
Oh,
one,
that's his
he was
strong
going to repeal
counterpunch.
the Trump tax cuts.
Two things you
Those
would care
tax
about:
cuts
paying more
delivered
taxes and having a
$2,000
job.
in tax relief to the average family of four. across
Probably worry
America.
about it. The planet's
And with regard to banning fracking, I just
I
recommend that
mean,
people
but they got to
look
change
at
the
the record.
dynamic
You
of the
yourself
conversation
said
about
repeatedly
the
that you would
wildfires
ban
and the
fracking. You were
hurricanes.
the first Senate co-sponsor of the Green
Yeah, he
New
doesn't want to
Deal.
talk about
And while Joe
Trump
Biden
yelling
denied
about
the Green New
raking the
Deal,
forest.
Susan, thank you for pointing out the Green New Deal is on their campaign website.
Yeah,
And as
I'm looking
USA
at it.
Today said, it's essentially the same
It's
plan
so
as you
terrible that
co-sponsored
people are so
with
afraid of
AOC when
certain
she submitted it
buzzwords.
in
That's
the
why he
Senate.
keeps saying Green New
And you
Deal.
just heard the senator say
Yeah,
that
it
she's
did-
gonna
yeah, all he's
resubmit
doing is
America
dropping
to the Paris
buzzwords.
Climate
Mhm.
Accord. Look,
It makes people think
the American
AOC, and they're
people have
scared of AOC
always
too.
Yeah.
cherished our environment.
And
We'll continue to
and
cherish
the
it. We've made great
Muslim
progress
lady.
reducing CO2
yeah.
emissions through American innovation
Basically,
and the
the
development of
tax
natural
cuts that
gas
went,
through
the
fracking.
Trump tax
We
cuts,
don't need
which are
a
over
massive
1.7
$2
trillion, are going to be
trillion
used
Green
to
New Deal that would
support the
impose
Green
all
New
new
Deal.
mandates on
That's what
American
the whole
businesses
thing is.
and American families.
Yeah, but
Joe Biden wants us
Thank
to
you, Vice
retrofit
President.
4
they're not
But
million
he's
Thank
flipping
you,
it.
Vice
He's
President.
by
business
saying it's a tax.
buildings. It
Raising your
makes no
taxes.
sense.
Yeah,
It
for the
will cost
super rich.
jobs.
Yeah, but
President
listen,
Trump
Biden is
Thank
not
you,
is
Vice
gonna put
President.
America
Implementing
first.
That's
and
the
put
year-
jobs
that's the year
first,
he's
and
speaking
will
to.
Take care of our environment
He's
and
not
follow the
implementing the
science.
Thank
Green
you,
New
Vice
Deal.
But
He's
on
got
the
his
issue
own
of
plan.
jobs,
Senator Harris.
let's talk
Yeah,
about
it's not
that.
called a Green New Deal.
The
Right.
vice president earlier referred to
The Trump
as
and
part
Pence
of
keep trying to
what he thinks is an
probably
Clean
healthcare.
energy and environmental justice, which
president's
is a very
trade war with China.
interesting
It's-
name. But yeah,
It's,
You lost that
It's like
trade war.
Green New
You
Deal
lost
light,
it.
you know?
What
Yeah.
ended up happening
we
is
lost the
because
trade
of
war.
a
Good.
so-called
good
trade
point.
war with China.
Mhm.
America lost 300,000
Yeah, remember?
manufacturing
this dude was supposed to be fighting against China. The
Farmers
steel. Remember that?
have
Yeah, we're
experienced
gonna
bankruptcy
tariffs.
because
Wow.
of it. We are in a manufacturing recession because of it. And when we look at where this administration has been, there are estimates that by the end of the term of this administration, they will have lost more jobs than almost any other presidential administration. And the
Yeah, that's
American
true.
people know what I'm talking about. You know. I think about 20-year-olds.
There you go.
You know, we have a 20-year-old, a 20-something-year-old who are coming out of high school and college right now, and you're wondering, is there going to be a job there for me?
I'm reading the comments.
We're looking at people who are trying to figure out
I know a few
how
of
they're
them.
going to pay rent by the end
Yeah,
of the
they're
month.
good.
Almost half of American renters are worried about whether they're going to be able to pay rent by the end of the month. This is where the economy is in America right now, and it is because of the catastrophe and the failure of leadership of this administration.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, let me give you just 15 seconds to respond because then I want to move on to our
Well,
next
I'd love to respond. Look, lost the trade war with China. Joe Biden never fought it.
Oh,
Joe
that's
Biden's
your
been a
response?
cheerleader for communist
He
China
wasn't a
through- over
president,
the
so
last
how could
several
he have fought it?
decades.
Yeah, but they
And
keep using
again,
his VP as
Senator
basically
Harris,
a
you're entitled to
presidential
your
run.
opinion. You're not entitled to your own
Both
facts.
of them keep
When
doing
Joe
that.
Biden was vice president, we lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs, and President Obama said they were never coming back. He said we needed a magic wand to bring them back. In our first 3 years after we cut taxes,
you, Vice
rolled back
President.
regulation, unleashed American energy, this
Unleashed
administration
American
saw
energy.
Unleashed
100,000
American
manufacturing jobs
energy.
created.
That's
And
that's
exactly the
buzzword
kind
of
growth we're gonna
pollution.
continue to see as we bring our nation through
Thank you, Vice
this
President
pandemic.
Pence.
But a
Mr.
Green New
Thank you,
Deal, your
Vice President
massive new
Pence.
mandates, your
Can
Paris
I make a
Climate
fart
Accord,
joke
it's
now?
going to kill jobs this time, just like it
Stop it.
killed jobs.
I'd like
Susan,
to-
I just need to respond very briefly,
15
please.
seconds and
Thank
then
you.
we'll move on.
Thank you. Joe Biden is responsible for saving America's auto industry, and you voted against it. So let's set the
Ooh,
record
voting
straight.
records.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank
We're
you.
not to talk about
Thank you.
China.
I like
That's
that.
okay.
Fun sentence. That's a nice sentence.
We have no
That's
more
a nice sentence.
complicated
Nice,
or
quick
consequential
bite.
foreign
Sound bite.
relationship than
No
the
further
one
questions,
with
Your Honor.
China.
No further
It
questions.
is a huge market for American agricultural goods. It's a potential partner in dealing with climate change in North Korea.
Give me
And in a
a little
video
ticker.
tonight,
What's
President
Hulu
Trump
saying?
again blamed
Yes.
it for the coronavirus, saying China will pay. Vice President Pence, how would you describe our fundamental relationship with China? Competitors, adversaries, enemies? You have
Dude.
2 minutes.
Best friends.
Thank you, Susan.
It
Well,
depends.
before I
Does
leave that,
does
let me-
Trump
let me
feel like
speak
he's
to
in love with
voting
him right
records
now?
If I can. You
Did
know,
he get a love letter and a
everybody
CD?
knows that NAFTA cost
No, that was
literally
North Korea.
That was North
thousands
This
of
Korea,
dude's
I
talking
know,
about
but-
NAFTA. Wrong
We
presidential
saw automotive
administration.
jobs go south
Wrong
because President
administration,
Trump
buddy.
fought
By like
to
decades.
renegotiate NAFTA. And the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement is now the law of the land.
Wait, what?
American people deserve
The
to know.
USMCA.
What does that
Yeah.
have to do with
Kamala Harris was
China?
one of only
I don't
10
know.
Nothing.
members of the Senate
Has nothing to
vote
do with even
against
the
the USMCA.
fucking Biden or
It was a
Obama either.
huge win for American auto workers. It was a huge win for American farmers,
You know, the
especially
USMCA
dairy.
is
in
Whoa,
this
whoa, whoa,
country.
whoa!
Yes.
Wait, he's saying they
But
won
Senator,
with
you,
for
you said it didn't go
farmers?
far enough on climate change. That you put your
Again,
your
he's way off
radical
topic.
environmental agenda ahead of American auto
Radical
workers and ahead of
environmental?
American jobs.
Your
And, you know,
socialist
people deserve to know
agenda.
that is probably why Newsweek magazine said that Kamala Harris was the most liberal member of the United States Senate in 2018. More
Wow.
liberal
You
than
heard
Bernie
that?
Sanders.
Most
more
Yeah, I've
liberal
heard
than
that
any
before.
of the others in the United States Senate. So now, with regard to China,
It's just that it's like
Look,
voting record
Susan,
stuff.
first and foremost,
It's weird.
China is to blame for the coronavirus. And President Trump is not happy about it. He's made that very clear. Made
He's
it clear
not
again
happy.
today. China and the World Health Organization did not play straight with the American people. They did not let our personnel into China to get information on the coronavirus until the middle of February. Fortunately, President Trump,
That's not true at all.
in dealing with
No.
China
We
from
heard
the
about
outset of
it
this administration, standing
in, like,
up to
November.
December.
taking
December?
advantage of it
November?
Yeah.
for decades in the wake of Joe Biden's cheerleading for China. President Trump made that decision before the end of January to suspend all travel from China.
Pence overclocked his
And
CPU
again,
tonight, James.
the American
know,
people
man.
deserve to know Joe Biden
Fans
opposed
spinning.
President Trump's decision to suspend all travel from
You
China.
can see the heat
He
coming
said it
out
was
from his ears,
hysterical.
right?
He said it was
Thank you, Vice
xenophobic.
President Pence.
But President Trump has
Vice
stood
President Pence,
up
your
to
time is
China.
up.
We're
Your
gonna
time is
continue
up.
to stand
Your time is
strong.
up,
Thank you,
Vice President Pence.
We want to improve the
It's up.
relationship, but we're going to level the playing field. And we're
Wrap it
gonna hold
up,
China
B.
Accountable for what they did to America with the coronavirus.
Thank you. Senator Harris, I'm
That's
gonna
what
ask
they
you
should
the
be.
same
Yo.
question that I asked the Vice President. How would you describe our fundamental relationship with China? Are we competitors, adversaries, enemies? You'll have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Susan, the Trump administration's perspective and approach to China has resulted in the loss of American lives, American jobs, and America's standing. There's a weird obsession that President Trump has had with getting rid of whatever accomplishment was achieved by President Obama and Vice President Biden. For example, they created within the White House an office that basically was responsible for monitoring pandemics. They got away, they got rid of it.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
There
They did. That's true.
was a team of
He
disease
dissolved it.
experts that
ASAP.
President Obama
That was one of the first things he
One of
did
the
after he
first things he
became.
did.
Yeah.
to China.
Day
After
two.
January 20th
monitor.
to 21st. Yep.
What
It was
is
the
now predictable in the
un-Obamaing
White House.
of the
They
whole
pulled them
administration.
out.
That's what he was doing.
we now are looking
Correct.
at 210,000 Americans who have lost their lives. Let's look at the job situation. We mentioned before the trade deal, the trade war, they wanted to call it, with China. It resulted in the loss of over 300 manufacturing jobs and a manufacturing recession, and the American consumer paying thousands of dollars more for goods
Yeah, tell me.
because of that failed war that they called it. Then let's talk about standing. Pew, a reputable research firm, has done an analysis that shows that leaders of all of our formerly allied countries have now decided that they hold in greater esteem and respect Xi Jinping the head of the Chinese Communist
Ooh,
Party
she got the name.
than they do Donald Trump, the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief of the United States. This is where we are today because of a failure of leadership by this administration.
Senator Harris,
Could
we've
have also
seen
brought up
changes
all the
in
bankruptcies
role of
from
the
all
United
the
States
farms.
in terms of global leadership.
Yeah,
Those
good
are
point.
way
over
on the
past
rise.
4 years. And of course, times do change. What's your definition? We've seen strains with China, of course, as the Vice President mentioned. We've seen strains with our traditional allies in NATO and elsewhere. What is your definition of the role of American leadership in 2020?
So, Joe is, I love talking with Joe about a lot of these issues. And, Joe, I think
Come
he said it
on,
quite well.
stop
He says,
that
foreign
folksy
policy, it might sound
nonsense.
complicated, but really it's relationships. So just think about it as relationships.
Yeah, I hate this part too.
And
I've got such
so
a good
we know this in
relationship
our
with
personal
Joe.
and professional
We were just
relationships.
laughing about
You gotta
this the
keep
other
your word
day.
to your
Yeah,
friends.
Shut
we
up.
go, we
Nobody
go
wants to hear
You gotta
that.
be loyal to your
Chappaquiddick
friends.
together.
We
People
know
stick
you're
with you,
lying.
gotta
Just get
stand
to
with them.
business.
in Martha's Vineyard
You
every
gotta know
summer.
who your adversaries are and keep them in check. But what we have seen with Donald Trump is that he has betrayed our friends
Uh-oh.
and
Do we need to give them the U.S. Air Force definition of
embraced
leadership?
dictators around the world.
The
Let me
Air
take,
Force
for
definition of
example,
leadership.
Russia.
The art of
So-
Dude, he's not influencing
I serve on
anything.
the Intelligence Committee.
Neither.
of
No
the United
influencing
States
or
Senate.
directing.
America's intelligence
singular
community
objective.
told us
When their
Russia
obedience,
interfered
confidence,
in
and
the
respect,
election of the
None
President
of
of the
that.
United States in 2016 and is playing in
loyal
2020.
cooperation.
Christopher Wray, the director of the
Oh, he got
FBI,
pinched though.
said the
Loyal
same.
cooperation.
Yeah.
But Donald Trump, the commander-in-chief of the United States of America, prefers to take the word of Vladimir Putin over the word of the American intelligence community.
He's a sucker.
You
for
look
Putin.
at our friends at NATO. He has walked away from agreements. You can look at the Iran nuclear deal, which now has put us in a position where we are less safe because they are building up what might end up being a significant
Pence
nuclear
pretending he's got emotions now.
arsenal. We were in that deal, guys.
He's
We
like,
were
I
in
didn't
the
study this
Iran
one. I
nuclear
didn't think
deal
we
with
were going to get
friends,
to
with allies
military
around the country. And because of
conflict.
Donald Trump's
No,
unilateral
he's thinking of Jerry
approach to
Falwell's
foreign
pool boy
policy,
right now.
coupled with his
Yeah,
isolation,
I don't think he has anything for
he
foreign
pulled
affairs
us
in his
out and has made America
hard
less
hard
safe. So,
drive.
Susan,
He's
it's
like,
about
uh-oh.
relationships. And the thing that has always been part of the strength
Trump
of
is
our
on a
nation,
Twitter storm right
in
now, by
addition
the
to
way.
our great military, has been that we keep our word. But Donald Trump doesn't understand that because he doesn't understand what it means to be honest.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, let me give you a chance to respond.
Well, thank you. Well, President Trump kept his word when we moved the American embassy to Jerusalem.
Oh,
Okay,
capital of the
hold on,
state of
hold on.
Israel.
Oh, he's going
Joe
for the
Biden was vice
evangelicals.
president. They
He's going for the
promised to do what we
evangelicals.
did.
yeah.
We've stood strong with our allies, but we've been demanding. NATO is now contributing more to our common defense than ever before, thanks to President
No,
Trump's
not true.
leadership. We've strengthened
That's
our
not true.
alliances across
Yeah,
the
not
Asia
true.
Pacific,
But also
and we've stood strong
against what?
against
Russia?
those who would do us harm.
How,
You know, when President Trump came into office, ISIS
would
had
would the
captured
Kurds
an
have something to
area
say about that?
of the Middle
Yeah,
East
exactly.
the size of Pennsylvania. But
Armenians.
President Trump
I mean, but
unleash
the
the
Kurds who he
American
just sold out to
and
what
our
you call
armed
it?
forces destroyed the ISIS caliphate and took down their leader al-Baghdadi. without
Bet
one
Pence
American
deflects the
casualty.
taxes again.
Al-Baghdadi
Yo,
was
Green New Deal.
it's like, and they're gonna raise your
for the
taxes.
death of thousands.
That's our YouTube comment of the night so far.
Notably,
I
America's
know,
hearts
that's my
today with
guy.
the family of Taylor
From
Williams,
Zuriel.
the parents of which are
So after
here
we
with us
lowered the
tonight in Salt
taxes and
Lake
killed
City.
al-Baghdadi.
Today,
Yeah.
two of the ISIS killers
Somebody should remind him of
responsible for Caleb Miller's
Khashoggi.
murder were brought to justice in the United States.
Remind
How
them that
John
we
was
also
killed
let
on the
a
battlefield along with the other
American
leader.
journalist get
The reality
killed
is
and-
that
Yeah,
when Joe Biden was
Beheaded.
vice president, we
Didn't
did
do
not
anything
choose
about that.
Dismembered.
nothing.
Save Caleb Miller.
No
Dismembered.
vengeance.
Breaks my heart to reflect
Yo,
on it, but the military
Everybody on my
Decapitated.
timeline, everybody on my
Presented a plan
timeline is
that
talking about Pence's
said they knew
red
where
eyes.
Caleb was.
Yeah.
Baghdadi had held her for 18 months, abused
I think
her mercilessly.
Trump punched him in the face before he
No,
came.
I feel like we're gonna hear either tomorrow or
When Joe
Thursday.
Biden was
He
vice
tested
president,
positive.
they hesitated.
He got pink eye from kissing Trump in his
When armed
ass.
forces finally went in, it was clear she'd been moved 2 days earlier. And her family,
Get out of Trump's
Says
ass,
with-
Pence.
a heart that broke the heart of every American, that If President Donald Trump had been president, they believe Kayla would be alive today.
Thank you, Vice
Look, we
President.
destroyed the ISIS caliphate.
Thank you, Vice
Wait,
President.
wait.
And you
They-
talk
they-
about
They're
reintroducing
still going
destroyed-
on this
nuclear
destroying
deal.
the
You know,
ISIS
last
caliphate.
administration transferred
Yeah.
$1.8
Hunger-
billion
Hunger
to the
and boredom
leading state-sponsored
Yeah.
destroyed
terrorist
the ISIS
terrorism.
caliphate.
But I don't want
President
Kamala
Donald Trump
coming
got us
back.
out of the
Biden
zone.
was behind Osama
And-
bin
and
Laden's
when
death
Qasem
and kept
Soleimani was
like, whoa,
traveling
we're
to
giving
Baghdad
Biden
Thank
too
you,
much.
Vice
harm to
He-
Americans.
He was in there. He was
President
there.
Donald Trump took
He was
us
in the
to
war
war,
room.
and
So was
America
Clinton.
is
He got the
safer,
briefing.
Our allies are safer, and the American people know President Donald Trump will never
Thank you,
hesitate.
Vice President.
I
Take
got to
action.
bring up
I would
the
like to give
bounties.
Senator
Bounties
Harris
have to
a
come
chance
up
to
right
respond,
now.
but not at
Come
such
on,
great
Kamala,
length because, of course,
bounties,
there are other topics
bounties.
we want to talk about.
But I would like equal time.
Yes,
Thank you.
please go ahead.
First of all, to the Mueller family, I know about your daughter's case, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
What happened to her is,
Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Look at the
and it shouldn't have
camera.
happened.
Are they in the
And I know Joe
studio?
feels the same way.
Dude, no, she was doing
And
it
I
at
know
the
that
beginning.
President
Like,
Obama
look at
feels the
us.
same way.
Look at us. Talk to us, Kamala. Kamala.
But you mentioned Soleimani. Let's start there.
Mm.
So after the strike on Soleimani,
Connect with the
there was a
people.
counter strike on our troops in Iraq.
Okay, here we go.
She came prepared.
And they suffered serious brain injuries. And do you know what Donald Trump dismissed them as?
No, this
Headaches.
isn't.
Oh, yeah.
And
That
this
wasn't
is
a
about
top-
a
yeah.
pattern of Donald
Yeah.
That
Trump,
happened too.
where he has
But that's not the
referred
jugular. You gotta
to
just jump for
our
the
men
jugular.
who are serving in our military as suckers and losers,
There it is.
Donald
Yes,
Trump.
there it is.
who went to Arlington Cemetery and stood above the graves of our
Do it.
fallen heroes.
Do it.
Do it.
And
Look at the camera.
What's in it for them?
Come on, look at us.
Because
yes,
of course,
yes.
you know, he
yes.
only thinks about what's in it for him. Let's take what he said about John McCain,
Talk to us.
a
Yes.
great American hero. And Donald Trump says he doesn't deserve to be called a hero because he was a prisoner of war. And this is very important when you want to talk about who's the
American
current
leadership.
commander-in-chief,
Dylan,
and
Dylan,
what they care
Dylan.
about and what they don't
I
care
spits
about.
hot fire.
Government reporting that
Blouses.
Russia had bounties on the heads of American
blouses for
soldiers.
real.
And you know what a
There it
bounty
is.
is?
Bounties.
Yes, yes.
Somebody
This
puts
is
a price on your head, and they will pay it if you are killed. And Donald Trump
Oh,
had
pointed right at the
talked least
camera.
6
yes.
times
This is what I'm
Vladimir
talking about.
Putin,
Pull us in.
and
yes.
never brought up the subject. Joe Biden would never do that.
Thank
Joe
you.
Biden would, but Joe Biden.
Because his son
Ah,
died.
see, you
His
waited
son
too long.
died in the service.
Any
You
threat
waited too long
to our
for the money
nation's security
shot.
or to our troops who are sacrificing
Joe
their
Biden lost a
lives
son.
for the sake of our democracy and our safety.
Thank you,
'Cause we-
Senator Harris.
'cause
This
we
is
all
such an
love our
important issue, but we
sons.
have other important issues as well. And I
Susan,
want to
America.
make sure we have a chance.
Whoa,
I really
Susan.
have
to talk
Wait,
about-
wait.
I'm-
Look, she has
15 seconds because
Well, I got to
we're
have
trying
more
to
than
keep.
that. Look,
Well, I'm
No.
sorry.
You gotta have
Vice
more than
President,
that.
You've had more
Who's
time than
moderating this
Suzanne
debate?
so far.
slanders against President Donald Trump
Slanders. No.
regarding
all his
men
own
and women in our
words.
armed forces.
Oh my
Absurd.
God.
I'm sorry, Vice
My son
President
is a
Pence.
captain in the United
Yes.
States Marine Corps. My son-in-law is deployed in the United States Navy. I can assure all of you,
They're suckers.
with sons and daughters serving in our military, President Donald Trump not only respects but reveres all of those who serve.
He
in our
doesn't
armed
revere
forces. And any
anybody.
suggestion-
Stop.
Revere.
He doesn't even know what revere means.
Thank you,
Exactly,
Vice
that's how I know
President
you're
Pence.
lying.
American people
You know,
deserve,
Vice
Susan,
President
American people
Revere.
deserve
I
to
didn't,
know.
Vice President
there's
Pence,
a
I did not,
pattern that you
excuse
can't
me,
deny.
Susan, the
I did
American
not
people
create
deserve
the
to know
rules for tonight.
Joe Biden.
Your
and Trump-
campaigns.
Oh, we're
you
going
did
off the
rules for
rails.
tonight's
Yep.
debate
Going
with
off the
Commission on
rails.
Presidential Debates. I'm here to enforce
Going off the
them,
rails.
which involves moving from one topic to another, giving roughly equal time
I
to
think
both
she
of
won
you,
that one.
which is what I'm trying very
Yeah.
hard to do.
Definitely.
So I want to go ahead and move to the
Game
next topic, which
blouses.
is an important one, as the last topic was, and that is the Supreme Court.
Go.
On
Yeah.
Monday, the Senate Judiciary Committee is
Well,
scheduled
she's
to
part of
open
the
hearings
Judiciary
on
Committee,
Amy Coney
so-
Barrett's nomination to the Supreme Court. Senator Harris, you'll be there as a member of the committee. Her
Mhm.
confirmation would cement the court's conservative majority and make it likely open to more abortion restrictions, even to overturning the landmark Roe v. Wade ruling. Access to abortion would then be up to the states. Vice President Pence, you're the former governor of Indiana. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, what would you want Indiana to do? Would you want your home state to ban all abortions? You have 2 minutes, uninterrupted.
Well, thank you for the question, but I'll use a little bit of my time to respond to that very important issue before. American
Oh,
people
there it
deserve
is.
to know
He doesn't want to get into it.
Soleimani, the Iranian general, was responsible for the death of hundreds.
Abortion is
of
like
American service
70%
When the opportunity
nation
came,
Yeah.
we saw him headed to Baghdad
want.
to kill more Americans. President Trump
He doesn't want to touch it.
didn't hesitate. And Qasem Soleimani is gone. But you deserve to know that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris actually criticized the decision to take out Qasem Soleimani.
Yeah, because you got civilians
It's
there.
really inexplicable,
Well.
but with regard to Joe Biden, it's explainable. Because history records that Joe Biden actually opposed the raid against Osama bin Laden. It's
Oh, what did I tell
absolutely
you guys?
essential that
Wow.
we have a
He was
commander-in-chief
in a war room, but he
who
opposed
will
it.
not hesitate to act to protect American lives and to protect American service members, and that's what you have in President Donald Trump.
Aw.
Now, with
Oops.
regard to the Supreme Court of the United States,
I thought you had
I
a
would say
had a
President
big
Trump
wine
and I could
glass,
not be more enthusiastic
Or she's bringing a
about the
lamp for
opportunity
more
to
giant
lighting.
Judge Amy
giant
Coney Barrett
margaritas.
become Justice Amy Coney Barrett. She's a brilliant woman, and
Lamp dog.
she will bring a lifetime of experience and a sizable American family to the Supreme Court of the United States.
How did he get
And
here
our
from
hope is, in
abortion?
the hearing next week, unlike Justice Kavanaugh received with treatment from you and others, we hope she gets a fair hearing.
How
And we
about a
particularly hope that
normal
we don't
length
see
of
the kind
time
of
to
attacks on
review her record instead of
Christian
rushing
faith
it?
that we saw before. I mean, the Democrat chairman of the
She doesn't really
judiciary
have a
committee
record,
before
so I feel like this is a
when-
good
when
amount of time to
Judge
actually
Barrett
review
was
it,
being confirmed for the Court of Appeals,
because she hasn't
expressed
really done much in
concern
her
that
career.
The dogma of her
Right.
faith lived loudly in her. Dick Durbin of Illinois said that it was a concern. Senator, I know one of our judicial nominees you actually attacked because they were a member of the Catholic Knights of Columbus.
Oh, you're
just
showing us the
because
other
Knights
screen?
of Columbus
chat?
holds pro-life views and
Thank you.
pro-marriage views.
Thank you, Vice President
So
Pence. Your
my
time
hope
is
is
up.
that when the hearing takes
Scroll
place,
down, though.
Thank you, Vice
that-
President Pence.
that Judge Amy Coney Barrett will be respected,
Thank you,
treated
Vice President
In the
respectfully,
chat.
Pence.
In the
voted
chat.
and confirmed
Thank
to the
you.
Supreme Court of the United States.
Senator Harris, you're the senator from and former Attorney General of California. So let me ask you a parallel question to the one I posed to the Vice President. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, what would you want California to do? Would you want your home state to enact no restrictions on access to abortion? And you have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Yeah. Pence
Thank you,
never answered
Susan.
anything
First of
about
all,
the question.
Joe Biden and I are both people of faith, and it's insulting to suggest that we would knock anyone for their faith. And in fact, Joe, if elected, will be only the second practicing Catholic as president of the
JFK.
United States. On the issue of this
Interesting.
nomination, Joe and I are very clear, as are the majority of the American people. We are 27 days before the decision about who will be the next president of the United States.
Yep.
And, you know, before, when this conversation has come up, you know, it's been about election year or election time. We're literally in an election. Over 4 million people have voted. People are in the process of voting right now. And so Joe has been very clear, as the American people are. Let the American people fill that seat in the White House, and then we'll fill that seat on the United States Supreme Court. And to your point, Susan, the issues before us couldn't be more serious. There's the issue of choice, and I will always fight for a woman's right to make a decision about her own body. It should be her decision and not that of Donald Trump and the Vice President, Michael Pence. But let's also look at what else is before the court. It's the Affordable Care Act. Like, literally in the midst of
let's
a
forget
public
about
health
that
pandemic,
divisive topic of abortion. Let's
when
get back
over
to healthcare.
210,000 people have died and 7 million people
Nice segue.
probably have what will be in the future considered a
Especially
pre-existing
now during
condition
COVID.
because you contracted the virus.
Yep.
Donald Trump is in court right now trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act.
While
And
he's
I
on
said it
COVID.
before, and it
Bong!
bears repeating.
While
This
he's suffering from
means
COVID.
that
Woo!
there will
Hot
be
fire!
no more protections if they win for people with
I'm
pre-existing
giving that one
conditions.
6. Yeah, I'm already giving her
This
that one.
means that over 20 million people will lose your coverage.
Yep.
It means that if you're under the age of 26, you can't stay on your parents' coverage anymore. And here's the thing. The contrast couldn't be more clear. They're trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. Joe Biden is saying, let's expand coverage. Let's give you a choice of a public
Thank you,
option or private coverage. Let's bring down premiums.
Senator
Let's
Harris.
lower Medicare eligibility to 60.
Thank you, Senator.
That's true
Harris.
leadership.
You know, you mentioned earlier Vice President Pence that the president was committed to maintaining protections for people with pre-existing conditions. But you do have this court case that you are supporting, your administration supporting, that would strike down the Affordable Care Act. The president Trump says that he's going to protect people with pre-existing conditions, but he has not explained how he would do that. And that was one of the toughest nuts to crack when they were passing the Affordable Care Act. So tell us specifically, how would your administration protect Americans with pre-existing conditions?
Let me just talk about fracking taxes.
If the Affordable Care Act
Fracking and taxes.
Well, thank you, Susan. But let me just say, addressing your very first question,
Oh,
The fracking.
I couldn't be more proud to serve as vice president to a president who stands without apology for the sanctity of human life. I'm pro-life. I don't apologize for it. And this is another one of those cases where there's such a dramatic contrast.
So he's
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris
jumping
support
back to abortion?
taxpayer funding of
Wait,
abortion all
he's
the way
pulling
up to
abortion
the
back
moment
in.
of
This
birth.
is not good for you, bro.
Late-term abortion. They want to increase funding to Planned
Yeah, so
Parenthood.
now he's going back to
of
abortion.
America.
Wow. Okay. So
Again,
okay.
more
Furthermore,
base.
I
It's
would
more
never
about the
presume how
base.
Judge Amy Coney
So
Barrett
you,
would rule
it's
on
about the
Supreme
base, but
Court
you just okay.
of
So
the
you
United
you
States.
want to cut off as many women as
We'll
you
continue to
possibly
stand
can.
strong.
Jai.
When you
Jai's
speak
on the
about
chat.
The Supreme Court.
He's
Yeah,
so
the
about the
American
base.
people
Megan
really
Trainor's
deserve
going
an
to make
answer
an
to that
appearance soon.
Are you and Joe Biden going to pack the court if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is
Oh,
confirmed?
now
The
he's
question asked him
switching.
last week. Yeah, but they asked
non-vacant
Biden the same
seats
question
on the
last week.
Supreme Court during presidential
But he's
election years from
ignoring
George
all of the
Washington
other
to Barack
questions and
Obama.
bouncing where he
Presidents
feels
have
like.
nominated in all 29
Yeah.
cases.
he's
She
not
really
even-
should say,
Your
why don't you
party
answer
is
the damn
actually
question?
openly
Right.
advocating adding seats to the Supreme Court, which has had 9 seats for
Does Pence have a
150
lag in the
years,
debate
if you don't
questions?
get your way. This is a classic case of
CPU.
if you can't win by the rules, you're going to change the rules. Now, you've refused to answer the question.
Needs a
Joe
RAM
Biden
upgrade
has
in there.
refused to answer the question. So I think the American people would really like to know if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed to the Supreme Court of the United States, are you and Joe Biden, if somehow you win this election, going to pack the Supreme Court to
Say
get
hell
your way?
yeah.
Why?
I'm so glad we
Hell
went through
yeah.
a little history lesson. Let's do that
Okay.
a little more.
Ooh.
In
ooh.
1864.
Well, I'd like you to answer the
No,
question.
Mr.
Yes,
Vice President
please.
speaking. I'm
Since
Yeah,
he didn't
I'm
even
speaking.
answer the damn question.
You
In
haven't answered any of your
1864,
questions.
One of the, I think,
Since
political
fracking.
heroes, certainly
By the way, the-
president, I assume if you
I
also,
don't know
Mr.
if you
Vice
guys know,
President,
but
is
there's
Abraham
no
Lincoln.
number in the Constitution. about how
Abraham
many
Lincoln
justices can
was
be on the
up
court.
for re-election.
Right. Yeah. No.
And it was 27 days before the election. And a seat became open in the
At
United
this rate, Zuriel is on fire.
Abraham Lincoln's
Pence is
party
going to
was
be
in
alone on the
charge, not
stage
only of the
asking for
White
2
House,
more
but the
minutes to
Senate.
answer the previous question.
An honest aide said it's not the right thing to do. The American people deserve to make the decision about who will be the next president of the United States. And then that person can select who will serve for a lifetime on the highest court of our land. And so Joe and I are very clear. The American people are voting right now, and it should be their decision about who will serve
Kamala
on
doesn't
this
bring it
most
back to the-
important body
Come on.
for a lifetime.
Gonna bring it back to
Kamala.
what?
Thank you,
And
Senator
Kamala.
Harris.
people, Susan, are voting right now. They'd like to know
Bring
if
it
you and
back
Joe
to the
Biden are going to
audience.
pack the Supreme Court if you don't get your way in this nomination.
Let's talk about
You
packing.
once
Come
again
on.
gave a non-answer. Joe Biden gave a non-answer.
Trying to answer you
The American
now.
people deserve a straight answer. And if you haven't figured it out yet, the straight answer is they are going to pack the Supreme Court if they
Good.
somehow win this election.
How?
Isn't
And
that
I-
what they're
I gotta
doing,
tell you,
though,
people
right
across
now?
the
Yes,
country,
Yes,
they
exactly.
cherish our Supreme Court. If you cherish
Yeah,
the
this is a
separation
They'd
of
be
debate.
more than willing to.
Reject
This is not even to
the
independence. This
Biden-Harris
is the
ticket
base.
come November the 3rd.
If
No,
this
he's-
was the
Elect
opposite,
President
they would
Donald
definitely
Trump,
be
who will
packing the
stand by
court.
that separation
Like
of powers
who?
and the 9-seat.
Yeah, who's
Well, yeah, let's
advising
talk
their
about packing the
campaign?
court.
Like
Let's talk about
my guy is
that.
cutting
Yeah,
off
I'm about
women.
to.
He's,
So
what's the
the
plan
Trump
here for
Pence
Pence?
administration has been, because I sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Susan, as you
Basically,
mentioned,
to avoid the
And I've
questions you don't want and answer.
the appointments for
randomly.
lifetime appointments
Yeah.
to the federal courts, district courts, courts of appeal. People who are purely ideological, people who have been reviewed by legal professional organizations and found to have been not competent, are substandard. And do you know that of the 50 people who President Trump appointed to the Court of Appeals for lifetime appointments, not one is black? This is what they've been doing. You want to talk about packing a court? Let's have that discussion.
All right, thank you.
Where is
Thank
this
you,
coming
Senator.
from?
Let's go
I
on
was
Oh,
not ready for this.
the
spicy.
issue of
Where'd that come from?
Spicy. He wasn't
That
ready
was
for
a
it
left-
either.
Record reflects
That was
He
a
wasn't
left
ready
hook
for it
out
either.
of nowhere.
But you know,
Thank
maybe
you.
the next debate, Joe Biden will answer the question.
Thank you,
But I think
thank
the
you.
American people know.
Wobble
Thank you,
dee,
Vice
wobble dee.
Wait, next
In
debate,
March,
Joe
Breonna
Biden will answer
Taylor,
the
a
question.
26-year-old emergency room
It means
technician in
they're
Louisville
not
was
going to
shot
let
and
it go.
killed after police officers executing a search warrant in a narcotics investigation broke into her
This
apartment.
topic wasn't in last week's.
The police said they identified themselves. Taylor's boyfriend said he didn't hear them do that. He used a gun registered to him to fire a shot, which wounded an officer. The officers then fired
Actually,
more
it
than 20
did it.
rounds into the apartment. They say they were acting in self-defense.
The ballistics report
None
proved
of
that
them
was
have been
wrong.
indicted
Yep.
in connection with her death.
Friendly fire.
Senator Harris, in the case of Breonna Taylor,
More bumbling ass
justice
cops.
done? You have 2 minutes.
I don't believe so. And I've talked with Breonna's mother, Tamika Palmer, and her family. And her family deserves justice. She was a beautiful young woman. She had as her life goal to become a nurse, and she wanted to become an EMT to first learn what's going on out on the street so she could then become a nurse and save lives. And her life was taken unjustifiably and tragically and violently. And it just
Why
it,
does
it
Kamala
brings
have a
me
story?
to
Kamala
you know,
have a story attached to every
the
answer.
8 minutes and 46 seconds.
Because that used to be the way everyone used to do it. You don't remember this?
Classic. It's
During
You know,
classic.
which
What about the
An American
dad who
man
comes home with the
was
single
tortured
job
and
and
She's
killed
all the way
other
old school.
with the
under
kitchen
the knee
tables and
of an armed
the bills on the
uniformed police
table.
officer. And
I'm like,
people
who even
around
goes to the
our
kitchen
country
table anymore?
of every race, of every age, of every gender, perfect strangers to each other,
No.
marched shoulder to shoulder, arm in arm, fighting for us to finally achieve that ideal of equal justice under law. And I was a part of those peaceful protests. And I believe strongly that, first of all, we are never going to condone violence, but we always must fight for the values that we hold dear, including the fight to achieve our ideals. And that's why Joe Biden and I have said on this subject, look, and I'm a former career prosecutor. I know what I'm talking about. Bad cops are bad for good cops. We need reform of our policing in America and our criminal
That was a
justice
good
system,
line.
which is why Joe
Bad
Biden
cops
will
Yeah,
are
immediately
bad for
this is
good
what
cops.
Biden
Those are
can't really
strongholds.
talk
George,
about.
George Floyd would be alive today if we did that. We will require a national registry for police officers who break the law. We will, on the issue of criminal justice reform, get rid of private prisons and cash bail, and
Thank
we
you.
will decriminalize marijuana, and
Thank
we
you,
will
Senator Harris.
we will expunge the records of those who have
Thank you,
been
Senator.
convicted
Wow.
of marijuana.
That's
This
new.
is time
That
for
marijuana
leadership
thing is
on
brand
a
new.
tragic issue.
Senator
Oh,
Harris,
they,
your time
Unarmed
is
these
up.
are the
in
October
America.
surprises.
Thank you, Senator.
Yeah, Steve,
Vice President Pence,
but
let me
the
pose the same
marijuana
question.
thing is a winner. It's
Wait,
a
what?
In
winner.
the case of Breonna Taylor,
It is a
Republicans-
big winner.
Republicans that come out and said,
You have
I
2
want to
minutes
legalize
uninterrupted.
marijuana, they would have been, whew,
Yeah, Joe can't say that.
no.
Just
Well, our
when
heart
you
breaks
thought the marijuana hit
for
the
the loss of
backseat.
innocent
This is
and
the
innocent American
2024 campaign.
and
She's
family
already giving us a
realize
spoiler.
our sympathy.
Yeah, but it's a winning issue for them if they
But I
want
trust
to.
our justice system, a grand jury that refused the evidence.
Of course you do. You're a
And it
white
really
male.
is
Why wouldn't you
remarkable
trust the
that as a
justice
former
system?
prosecutor, you would assume that an impaneled grand jury looking at all the evidence got it wrong. But
Except we just got a
I'm
didn't
proud
we
of you
just get a
for
grand jury member who just said
I think,
the opposite?
and with regard to
They were told
George
they
Floyd,
can't
there's no excuse
prosecute
for
or
what happened to
something?
George Floyd.
Yeah, that
The
wasn't on the
justice will be
table.
served. But there's also no excuse for the rioting and looting that followed.
There we go. Law and order.
Uh,
Law and order
Yeah.
time.
Law and
Flora
order.
Law and
Westbrook
order.
is with us here tonight in Salt Lake
Dum
City.
dum. Dum dum.
Just a few weeks ago, I stood at what used to be her salon was burned to the ground by rioters and looters. And Flora is still trying to put her life back together.
No,
And I
she's
must
got a
tell you,
life.
this-
Hey, that's more
this
than
presumption
others could say.
that
Hold on,
you
I
hear
want to see how
consistently
she's
Pretty
gonna.
sure she has
from Joe
insurance.
Biden and
too.
Kamala Harris.
Oh, she's taking notes.
That,
Here we
that
go.
America is
And her
systemically
face, now
racist,
she's not even smiling anymore.
and that as Joe Biden
No,
said,
no,
he
oh,
believes
Oh,
all
he's going to
laws are
prosecutorial mode.
Oh yes, he just switched
He's
on
lit.
prosecutor.
Like when Thanos got the last.
is a great insult. to the men and women who serve in law enforcement, and I want everyone to know.
Is there a
who puts
bug on his
What's
head?
on his head?
There's
That's
a
a
fly.
fly. I thought it was on my
Is that a
screen.
fly? Is
Yo, I
he
thought it was on my
is he not gonna
screen.
do anything about it? Is he not gonna do anything? I told you, he's wearing a skin suit. He doesn't even notice. He doesn't even notice what's going on.
Senator Harris,
Oh,
you got up and walked out of the
Small proof
room,
that flies do
and then
love
you
shit.
filibustered Senator.
You should say, by the way,
Tim
go like
Scott's
this. You should
bill
be like,
on
go
the
like this,
Senate
by the way.
floor that
Go
would
like
provide
this.
new accountability,
Go like
new
this.
resources. Look,
You're
we
giving
don't
the fly
have to choose between
COVID.
supporting law enforcement, improving public safety, and
Zuriel,
supporting
he's an
our
alien,
African
Men in
American
Black.
Thank you,
neighbors
Vice
and all of our minorities.
The
Under
cockroach
President
guy.
Trump's leadership,
Thank you,
we'll
Vice President.
always stand with law enforcement, and we'll
Oh,
do
he doesn't
what we've
know
done
there's a
President
fly in
Vance,
his
thank you.
head.
Your time
improve
is
the
up.
lives of African
Dude, that means he's
Americans.
talking shit
you,
right
Vice
now.
President.
That's
Literally.
That's good one, James.
And we'll fight for
Oh,
school
man.
choice.
How
That's-
is the
Yo.
fly not moved?
Is it a fly? What
I
is
will
that?
not sit
It's
here
a
and be
fly.
lectured
It's a
Are we
horse
all having the
fly.
same
Okay.
illusion?
on what
I
it
think
is
we're all
Okay,
having the
okay,
same
I gotta hear, I
hallucination.
gotta hear. Gotta
I'm
hear.
the only one on this stage who has personally prosecuted everything from child sexual assault to homicide.
Yeah, that's a
I'm
fly.
the
on his
only
head,
one on this
sure.
stage who has prosecuted the big banks for taking advantage of America's
Oh,
homeowners. I'm the
shit,
only one on
dude.
this
That's
stage
gonna be
who
everywhere
prosecuted
tomorrow.
for-profit
Dude,
colleges
that's
Memes.
gonna
taking
meme
advantage of
central.
our veterans.
I hope
the
her
reality
facial
of
Yo,
this
that's
expressions
a
are
that-
meme
that's
central
almost like a
tomorrow.
self
talking
TKO.
about
It's not
an
even like,
election in
you know,
27
when the fighter
days,
kind of
where
slips
last
and
week,
knocks
I'm
himself
going
out.
to
President of the
Twitter
United
seeing if the
States took
fly
a
is
debate
trending.
stage in front of 70 million Americans.
You know,
Freaking
it's
Jeff
kinda looks
Jeff
like a-
Goldblum is
condemn
probably
white
like his social
supremacists.
account is hitting like, whoa, what the hell?
And-
People keep buzzing me about.
It wasn't like he didn't have a chance. He didn't do it, and then he doubled down. And then he said, when pressed, stand back.
His hair is like a
Stand by.
spider's web, so that
Yo,
fly
is
can't get
it-
away.
And
What kind of
this is a part
juices
of the
and berries are he
pattern
using in his
of
head?
Donald Trump.
The fly is just chilling.
He called
It's
Mexicans
stuck like on a spider's web, man.
rapists
Look at that
and
shit.
criminals.
Wait, it's gone.
It's gone.
Instituted
It's
as his
gone.
first
It's
act
gone.
of
All right.
Muslim ban,
Don't worry,
he
everybody
unleashed a
noticed already.
Charlottesville, where people were peacefully protesting.
SNL skit right there.
the need for
Hashtag fly
racial
wins.
justice, where a young
Reminds me
woman
of the
was
time
killed.
Ted Cruz had
And
that
on the
Fly
other
gate.
side,
out of
there
his
were
mouth. You remember
neo-Nazis
that?
carrying tiki torches, shouting racial epithets,
All right.
anti-Semitic
Boy, that was distracting.
slurs. And Donald Trump,
Good
when asked
comment
about
here.
it, said,
Riots happen during sporting events
there
too.
were
No
fine
one talks
people
about it
on both
unless they happen
sides.
along
this is
civil
who
rights
we have as the
protests.
president
That's
of the
so
United States.
true.
In
That is
America, you
so
deserve better.
fucking true,
Joe
James.
You know the
Biden
Lakers
is
are gonna be
president
rioting in
who
LA.
brings our country together
Senator Harris.
and,
thank you.
and, and
Yikes.
recognizes
Yeah,
the
right.
beauty in our diversity and the fact that we
Senator
all
Harris,
have
thank
so
you.
much more in common than what separates us.
Vice President Pence, let me
My wife
give
just
you
texted
a
me. Does he
minute
have a fly
to
in his
respond.
hair? Is
Thank
this
you, Susan.
Westworld?
I appreciate that very much. You know, I think this is one of the things that makes people dislike the media so much in this country. So
No,
So,
just
blame
you.
the media now.
is that you selectively edit, just like Senator Harris did, comments that President Trump and I and others on our side of the aisle make. I mean,
We don't
Senator
have
Harris
to. You guys
conveniently
give
omitted
us all
after-
the good
After the president
material.
made comments
Oh, yeah.
about people on either side of the debate over monuments, he condemned the KKK, neo-Nazis, and white supremacists, and has done so
He actually did not do that.
repeatedly.
He
Yet
had to. He
concerned
read
he
a
doesn't
piece of paper that
condemn
told him to do
neo-Nazis.
it.
President
But
Trump has
every
Jewish
time he does it on his own, he just
His daughter and
refuses.
son-in-law are Jewish.
Right.
This is a president who
Oh,
respects
oh.
and cherishes all of the American people. But you talk about having personally prosecuted. I'm glad you brought up your record, Senator.
Thank you.
But I really need to make this point. When you were DA in San Francisco,
Uh-oh.
when you left office, African Americans were 19 times more
this is
likely to
blow.
be
He was waiting
prosecuted
for
for
this one.
minor drug offenses than whites and Hispanics. When you were Attorney
Thank you.
General of California,
Thank you,
you
Vice President.
increased the disproportionate incarceration of
Thank you.
blacks in California. You did nothing on criminal justice reform in California.
This might be his
You didn't
round
lift a
finally.
finger
Thank
to
you.
Only
pass
won
the
one.
First Step Back on Capitol Hill.
The
I mean,
fly
the
had one
reality
round.
is
You got to
your
give that
record
to the
Thank you,
speaks for
Vice
fly.
itself.
President.
The
President
fly was
Trump
in
and I have
Pence's hair a
fought
long time. Issue
for
quarantine.
criminal
That was
justice
Jack.
reform.
Thank you, Vice President
We fought for
Pence.
education.
Please bring up
choice and
Buffalo.
Opportunities for African Americans, all of our
Thank
Oh
you,
members.
yeah.
sir.
And
What
we'll
happened
do
in
it for
Buffalo?
full.
Thank you. You know, there is no more important issue than
Oh,
the
what?
final
Not gonna-
issue
she doesn't get
that
to
we're going talk
respond.
about tonight, and that is
Wait,
the
why
issue
doesn't she
of
get
the
to respond?
election
But
itself.
Oh.
he attacked my record. I would like an opportunity to respond.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna give you
Yeah,
30
Thank
seconds
you.
because
Thank
we're-
you.
because we're running
Fight
out
for
of time.
I
that.
appreciate that.
Thank you. Yes.
First of all, having served as the Attorney General of the state of California, the work that I did is a model of what our nation needs to do, and we will be able to do under
Stand
the Joe
by, but
Biden
stand ready.
presidency. Our agenda includes what this administration has failed to do. It will be about not only instituting a ban on chokeholds and carotid holds.
Thank you.
Not only,
Thank you, Senator
I would
Harris.
like to go through,
These are points that you made earlier in the hour, and I want to talk about the election itself before we have to.
but I want to talk about
She
the
didn't-
connection
she
between
didn't
what
get to
Joe
the
and I will
point.
do and
She
my
was-
record, which includes, I was the first
Two around.
Forgot.
statewide
We only
officer
have
to
30
institute
seconds.
a requirement that
She had a
my
problem with this
agents
at the
will wear body
Democratic
cameras and
debates
keep them
too.
on full
She
time.
did.
We
Yeah.
were the first
Especially that
to
first time when
initiate
she was.
She
a
doesn't
well,
wanna-
second
there
time.
would be a training
She
for
doesn't
law
wanna go
enforcement on
fast,
implicit
but
bias
she's
because,
like-
yes, Joe Biden and I recognize that implicit bias
She
does
doesn't
exist
talk
as
too
a
much.
analytical
precedent,
with
Yeah.
contrary to
Yeah,
what you may
yeah.
believe.
Too many little
We did the
details she
work
wants to
of
mention about
instituting
it
reforms
and
that
not.
were about investing in reentry. This is the work that we have done and the work we will do going forward. And again, I will not be lectured by the Vice President on our record of what we have done in terms of law enforcement and keeping our communities
Yeah.
safe. And a
She doesn't
commitment
have a
to
good,
reforming the
concise
criminal justice
response
system of
for
America.
this
Yeah,
line
like
of
she's
question.
gotta have,
I'd
yeah.
like to pose the first. I'd like you to
I
respond
agree.
first to the.
Not to bring up
question
I
about
think
Hillary,
it's
but Hillary had the
election
same
itself.
problem with her emails.
President Trump has several times
7-2.
refused to commit himself
Or
to
6-2.
a peaceful transfer
Okay.
of power after the
6-2
election.
Kamala.
If your ticket
Ooh.
wins and President Trump refuses to accept a peaceful transfer of power, what steps would you and Vice President Biden then take? What would happen next? You
Just
have
say he's going to accept it. Don't go into
So
any
I'll tell you,
weirdness.
Joe and I are, I think, particularly proud of the coalition that we've built around our campaign. We probably have one of the broadest coalitions of folks that you've ever seen in a presidential race. Of course, we have the support of Democrats, but also independents and Republicans. In fact, 7 members of President George W. Bush's cabinet are supporting our ticket. We have the support of Colin Powell, Cindy McCain, John Kasich, over 500
Republicans.
generals, retired generals, and former national security experts and
Retired
advisors
Republican
are
generals.
supporting our campaign. And I believe they are doing that because they know that Joe Biden has a deep, deep-seated commitment to fight for our democracy and to fight for the integrity of our democracy and to bring integrity back to the White House. And so we believe in the American people. We believe in our democracy. And here's what I'd like to say to everybody. Vote. Please vote. Vote early. Come up with a plan to vote. Go to iwillvote.com. You can also go to joebiden.com. We have it within our power in these next 27 days to make the decision about what will be the course of our country for the next 4 years. And it is within our power, and if we use our vote and we use our voice, we will win. And we will not let anyone subvert our democracy with what Donald Trump has been doing, as he did on the debate stage last week, when again in front of 70 million people, he openly attempted to suppress the vote. Joe Biden, on the other hand, on that same debate stage, because clearly Donald Trump doesn't think he can run on a record because it's a failed record, Joe Biden on that stage said, hey,
It's a little
just
one.
please vote. So I'll repeat what Joe said. Please vote.
Thank you, Senator.
was a nice
Vice
little
President
jab there.
President Trump has several times refused to commit himself
I thought
to
you
a
were about to say he
peaceful
came
transfer of
infected.
power after the election. If Vice President Biden is declared the winner and President Trump refuses to accept a peaceful transfer of power, what would be your role and responsibility as Vice President? What would you personally do? You have 2 minutes.
Stand there and do nothing.
Well, Susan, first and foremost,
Same
I think
thing
we're
he's
gonna
done
win
all
this
along.
race
Same thing.
Yeah.
because
Pretty
while
much be
Joe Biden and
invisible.
Kamala Harris rattled off a long litany of
Sir, do you think
the
we should
establishment
leave?
in Washington, D.C., an establishment that Joe Biden's been a part of for 47 years. President Donald Trump has launched a movement of everyday Americans from every
It's
walk
not
of
the
life.
question, doofus.
And,
He doesn't
I've
care
every
about the
confidence
questions.
Those same Americans that delivered that historic.
Question
victory
is, will
in
you
I'm-
get the F out?
They see this
I'm
president's
really
record,
excited to
where we
read about the
rebuild our
fly
military,
tomorrow on
we
social
revive
media.
Yo,
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
it's gonna be
Twitter right
mean
now.
to
rolling
death.
back regulation, fighting for fair
That
trade.
shit's gonna
The
be
new
on the
crying
cover of the
Jordan meme.
newspaper.
We appointed conservatives to our federal courts at every level.
Like
I want
he was
somebody
talking
to
so
do
much
that
shit.
fly and with a look of despair on
Talking
the
so much
button.
shit, a
I
fly
think
landed
the
on him.
movement of Americans has only grown stronger in the last 4 years.
That
When
fly
we
must
talk about
regret
accepting
its
the outcome of
decision.
the election,
Oh, is he going to answer?
I must tell you, Senator, your party has spent the last 3.5 years trying to overturn the results of the last election. It's amazing. When Joe Biden was vice president of the United States,
Wow, look at that comment. And I'm not
the
going to read
FBI
that loud.
actually spied on President Trump
Mike
and my
Pence.
campaign. I mean,
Wow.
there were documents released
You
this
saw
week
it?
that the CIA actually made a referral
Savages.
to the FBI documenting that those allegations
I,
were
wa- I,
coming
you
from
know, I
Hillary
don't doubt it.
Clinton.
Though.
ASG 1982, you're a
We've all
savage.
seen Avalanche.
Yeah.
What you put the country through for the better part
Wow.
of 3 years until it was found that there was no obstruction.
That's
whatsoever,
funny.
it was closed.
That is
And then
funny.
Senator Harris,
That's our new
you and your
comment of the
colleagues
night.
in the Congress tried to impeach the President of the United States over a phone call. And now Hillary Clinton has actually said to Joe Biden that
Hillary
under
Clinton?
her words,
What?
under no circumstances should he concede the election. So
They still on
let me
Hillary?
just say, I think we're
Come
gonna
on,
win this
man.
election. President Trump
And
and
what
I
is
are
this
fighting every day
about
in
just a
courthouses
phone
to
call?
prevent
There wasn't just a
Joe
phone
Biden
call.
and
That
Kamala
was
Harris from changing
Joe,
the
help me
rules
find
and creating
dirt
this
on
universal
Biden.
mail-in voting that'll create a
Yeah.
massive opportunity for voter
hello,
fraud.
foreign country.
And we
I
have a
need
free
help
and fair
finding dirt
election.
on Biden.
We know we're going to have confidence in it, and I believe in all my heart that President Donald Trump's going to be reelected for 4 more years.
You know, I've written all the questions that I've asked tonight, but for the final question of the
Sorry,
debate,
I just got the
I'd
comment.
like to read a question that someone else wrote. The Utah
My
Debate
chat wasn't
Commission asked
updating.
students in the state to write essays about what they would like to ask you. And I want to close tonight's debate with the question posed by Brecklin Brown. She's an 8th
Brooklyn
grader
Brown, what a
at
name.
Springville Junior High
Hard.
in Springville,
Hard
Utah.
for that.
Here's what she
Hard.
wrote.
It's a
Quote,
hard name.
Tough.
when I
She's a
watch
solid
the news,
babe.
all I see is arguing between Democrats
tough.
and Republicans. When I watch the news, all I see is citizen
Wait, that's what that
fight
is?
against citizen.
Stop
When I
it.
watch the news, all I see are 2 candidates from opposing parties trying to tear each other down. If our leaders can't get along, how are the citizens
I
supposed to
was
get
forced to
along? And then
comment
she
on this by
added,
my dad.
your examples could make all the difference to bring us together, end quote. So to each of you in turn, I'd like you to take 1 minute and respond.
Aren't we done?
Vice
Isn't
President,
this done?
you have 1 minute.
It's about to be. So,
Brooklyn,
Just
it's a
the last
wonderful
question, yeah.
Brooklyn.
And let me
This
just
is
commend you for taking
one of
the
those
effort to
can't we all get
public
along
hearing.
questions.
I started
No.
following the news when I was
Is
very
this the
young.
last question? That sucks.
In
Yeah.
America,
I hate when they do that.
we believe in a free and open exchange of debate. And we celebrate that.
What is he
It's how
waxing
we've
poetic
believes-
about?
literally the
He believes in a
freest and
free
most
and open
prosperous
lying.
nation in the history of the world. But I would tell you that don't assume that what you're seeing on your local
On CNN.
news networks is synonymous with the American people. You know, I look at the relationship between Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the late
Oh,
justice who we
how
just
dare
lost
you.
from the Supreme Court,
Oh,
and the late Justice Antonin Scalia. They were on polar opposites on the Supreme Court of the United States, one very liberal, one very conservative. But what's been learned since her passing was the 2 of them and their families were the very closest of friends. I mean, here in America, we can disagree. We can debate vigorously, as Senator Harris and I have on this stage tonight. But when the debate is over, we come together as Americans. And that's what people do in big cities and small towns all across this country. So I just want to encourage you, Brecklin. I want to tell you that we're going to work every
I can't
day to
even
have
hate him
Americans
for
good
that
as our
one.
people.
it's
American
it's
people
a
each
it's a
stand up
classic
every
answer.
day.
It's really what.
Love a good debate.
But it works.
We love a good argument.
Yeah.
But we always come together and are always there for one another
Thank you.
in
Vice
times of
President.
need.
what
And
you
we
Still,
learn in-
it's still a lot
What
of
you learn
bullshit.
in poli sci
Thank you.
101.
Yeah,
Difficult
definitely.
position.
Like that's definitely like.
Senator Harris, what would you say to Brecklin?
First of all, I love hearing from our young leaders. And when I hear her words, when I hear your words, Brecklin, I know our future is bright because
Say Brooklyn again.
it
Come
is
on.
that
He's looking at the
perspective
camera,
on
though.
who
He's
we
looking
are
at the
and who we
camera.
should be.
Because
That is
Flyboy
a sign of
wasn't.
leadership and is something
He's
we
looking
should
at the
all
wrong.
Flyboy.
And that, that brings me to Joe.
Marty
Joe Biden.
McFly.
One of the reasons that Joe decided to run for president is
Yes.
after
Keep me locked in.
Charlottesville,
This is
which
the
we
last
talked about
question.
earlier.
Keep me locked in.
It's so
Oh,
troubled him and
Pineapples of
upset him
Gaming
like
is
it did
on.
all of us that there was
TTV
that
Pineapples.
kind of hate
Pineapples.
and division.
Tell myself what's up.
You
What
could tell him on the
propelled Joe
chat.
to run for president was to see that over the course of the last 4
Pence
years,
is
Come
pretty
on.
fly
what
for a
Brecklin
white guy.
described has
I
been
think that's
happening.
fine.
Joe has a long-standing reputation of working across the aisle. and working in a bipartisan way.
It's funny
And that's what he's going to do as
that
president.
Pence is writing down
Joe
notes.
Biden
Kamala
has
makes
a
me feel bad.
history of lifting people up and fighting for their dignity. You mean you have to know Joe's
So
story to know that
she
Joe
tried
has
to
known pain,
direct this towards
he has known
Joe,
suffering,
whereas Pence just did
and
the
he has known
generic
love.
answer.
And so, Brecklin, when you think about the future, I do believe the future is bright. And it will be because
Brooklyn
of
with a
your
hard
leadership.
beat.
And it will be because
Yeah.
we fight for each person's voice through their vote, and we get engaged in this election because you have the ability through your
Those
work
aren't real
and
notes.
through eventually
He's
your vote
drawing.
He's
to
just
determine
what
the
notes?
future
Because
of
he
our
obviously
country
isn't
and what its
answering from
leadership
any
looks
notes
like.
that he's taking.
Thank
So
you,
what notes
Senator
is he
Harris.
taking?
Thank you, Vice President.
Is it like
Thank you so much for
Ratatouille?
being with us tonight.
The fly was
We want to
pulling
thank
his hair, telling
also
him what to
the
do.
University of Utah for
Maybe.
its hospitality, and most of all, our thanks to
Oh, that
all
was
the
it.
Americans
That's it.
who watched
Yeah,
this
for the last
debate
question, that was so
tonight.
booty.
Again, our best wishes for a quick recovery to President Trump, the First Lady,
Yeah.
and everyone who is battling
fuck that.
COVID-19.
Thoughts
The
and
second
prayers.
presidential debate is next week on October 15th, a
Man,
town
that's
hall
quick.
style debate in Miami. We hope you'll join us then.
Will he be
Is
high
that
on his
going to be in
drugs?
person?
I would if I am the 77-year-old man that's debating him, I'm not. There's no way you getting me on stage with that mother. No,
No,
Right,
no way.
no, like that's
Wait.
so irresponsible.
Okay, notice the difference here.
Yeah.
Wait, she's supposed to be wearing a mask too, though. What does it matter if he's
Well,
wearing
she
a
just
mask?
came off the debate stage, but yeah, she should have put one right on.
Yeah, to him, she came to him. I like how she tanned him up a little bit. Like he definitely looks darker than Pence.
You stop.
He needs some of Trump's orange glow.
So close.
So that really wasn't like any kind of a barn burner. It was slightly better than the last vice presidential
I
debate.
mean, yeah, it was an actual debate,
discussion.
so that's
Yeah.
number one. But it was still bullshit. Like,
Yeah, because you can't let him not answer any of the questions and just
Like,
bounce to whatever
yeah,
he
like,
felt like talking about.
you're not holding him to answer any questions, like directly. Come on.
Yeah, as a moderator,
run.
she didn't hold anybody's feet to the fire except for like, nope, we got to move to the next question.
I'm giving both these moderators a C so far, man.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
what's
she did a
his-
little better than Chris Wallace.
She
I
was
think.
better.
No.
Yeah.
No, see what
she
what
had
you're
an easier
comparing.
job.
I was about to say yes. That's what I was about to say. What you're comparing is the jobs that both of them had. Chris Wallace had a harder job because Trump wasn't trying to debate. These two
That's
people
fair.
were observing the rules.
Absolutely.
She wasn't putting her big girl panties on and taking charge.
Mm.
They were willing to be
Oh,
led.
that's a good point. Yeah.
They were
that's a good
willing
point.
to be led. Like make him answer the fucking question.
Yeah, he avoided talking about Trump transferring power, and there was another one. He went like back to abortion instead of talking
Yo,
about it.
And
What
then
they
he brought
talking
up
about fracking or some shit?
Yeah, he brought
Like-
up fracking twice.
Like how you go from abortion
Green
to
New
fracking? What are you
Deal.
talking about?
I
He
guess
talked.
it's
He
kinda the
talked
same.
about packing the court. Like he was avoiding a question by going, "Why don't you answer a question, comma?"
Yeah,
Kamala.
like you answering questions with questions that don't even have to do with the question that you was
Nah,
asked.
That was. I didn't like that she just let him wander around. I'm gonna answer your other question first.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
I'm
And
gonna answer
the-
my question.
Oh yeah, because I didn't have enough time. I'm gonna answer the question that you asked 4 questions ago.
Because
Now
you
that I-
skipped
now
that
that I-
question and went to something.
Come
else.
on, man. Like that was she had way more ability to control that debate than Chris Wallace did with Trump and Biden. And
All
she
right.
didn't do it.
All right, guys.
Yeah,
So
that's
what?
true,
Oh,
'cause,
go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Well, obviously, because Pence has more self-control than Trump does, right? So
They were
He's
both
got
following the rules pretty
all-
much. Like
all
they,
self-control, nothing else.
yeah.
that
Okay,
was a much more directable duo.
so here's my question to everybody: what was the best and worst answer for each of them? You think? So, like for Kamala
Wow.
and Mike Pence, what was their best and worst? Like if you were to ask me, Kamala really has a problem answering about her record. She has no easy, direct, concise way to say she
Gotcha.
did a good job.
Chris, I think the best response she had was about COVID and how the administration failed the people.
Yes.
Because
Okay.
Pence started by saying how Trump put his trust in the American people, this, that, and the third. She goes, you can't put trust in people if you're not telling them the truth. Like you're not telling them how serious the situation is. That was in early on when I felt like, okay, she's coming out swinging, but then, you know,
I
can't-
don't think that there was a lot of bangers in this.
Yeah.
No,
Like
it
this
wasn't
was
a big.
this was pretty much just like a survive it kind of debate. I definitely think Kamala won head and shoulders, but even with that win, it wasn't like, oh, like she totally killed him with this, blah blah. Nah, she just debated
No.
better.
The Fly won the debate.
She had better. But we already knew it. She had better material coming into the debate. Like, there's no way that. What's he gonna say? Trump, Pence, like, there's nothing that was gonna come up in the debate that was going to actually be favorable for him.
Right.
Yeah, I think this whole debate format needs to just stop. Like, I was reading Zuriel's comment here. Like Chris Wallace said, the candidates are allowed to say what they want during their time. Just unfortunate they use it to avoid questions and try to attack.
Yeah.
And why
absolutely.
even ask a question then?
Right.
Yeah.
Why don't you go back and forth?
Be like, hey, it's your turn. What do you want to say?
So
You've got
here's
2
what I think.
minutes.
So you remember
Do your
last week?
campaign speech. You do your campaign speech, and then we take turns.
So if you remember last week, Keith and I were saying, like, Biden just needs to let Trump defeat himself, basically. And if you look at the polls, like today, the last couple of days, they have a pretty big advantage in the polls right now.
Yo, my God,
Nationwide, though, not in.
he's on top of him 14 points in some
Yeah.
places.
So
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I think the strategy going into tonight was for Kamala to say, just let Pence dig his own hole.
But
just
you
like-
can't with
But
Pence.
you can't do that with Pence. No.
No,
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
no,
I
she
don't
has
think
to
it worked,
actually.
right, but
No, she has
I
to
think
actually
that's what they-
debate.
I
She
think
has
she
to
did.
press.
I think she did enough. I think she did enough what she needed to do.
She did enough, but she never pressed him on anything.
Right.
She didn't need to. And I feel like at this stage of the game, we're 4 weeks out to the election. Like, let them show their hand. I don't want you doing anything erratic that might create some negative soundbite. Like, just
I guess
Yeah.
I
go
just
ahead.
I just feel like she sat back and let him press her on stupid stuff like fracking, Green New Deal, and
Packing the court.
the packing the court. Those were the things I remember him talking about. None of which I think move more than maybe a few, like fracking maybe in Pennsylvania, but that's about it. Like nobody's cares about packing the court.
And the court is already packed.
And that's
not
what they're
gonna
doing.
move
They're
anybody.
packing the
Already
court
packed.
themselves.
Right. So, Brooks, do you have any memorable parts, bad or good, that you came away with
Aside from the fly,
aside from the fly?
Man, that fly, famous.
I know that's gonna be my favorite thing tomorrow.
Future flies will remember him.
Future fly.
They're fun. I guess the answer is no to that question. I just, Mike Pence is as boring as I thought that he was going to be. I felt like he was falling asleep mid questions half the time. I enjoyed Kamala's facial expressions a lot. I hope there's some memes around her facial expressions. I like that she stood her ground and was like, no, this is my time. Stop talking. Like, this is my time right now.
Yeah, she gave him side eye a couple times. Saw that.
A lot of times. Yeah.
There's a lot of black woman energy coming from her.
Oh yeah.
Right. Which I really liked. So I would
West
say
Indian too.
that's my favorite part. Yeah.
Okay. So I think right now, because of where the polls are showing us, I think nothing's changing tomorrow. Pence did not gain ground for them, and that's really, he should have been the one trying to gain ground, whereas he was just playing it generic, safe.
Bet
Prevent
has
defense.
he's got no attack either. So
Yeah.
I guess
I bet points were lost. I'd bet Trump and Pence lost points.
Yeah, I could see one or two spots. I don't. He's not doing anything to inspire confidence. He's not doing anything to show, yeah, he's just lying to people's faces about COVID. I think everybody knows what's wrong in COVID. Everybody knows that they failed, and they're just telling everybody, no, the emperor has clothes on.
Yeah, and I'm about to call you Nathan. Chris, we kind of like poo-pooed earlier on the whole topic about the VP candidate and have they had the conversation with the president because of their age. I think it's a serious topic when you look at, Trump in particular right now, what he's going through. If this dude were to get another term and he's mentally, his faculties are already, going down, Pence is the next guy.
Yeah.
So you kind of want to know, like, what is he really about other than being the lackey or the top henchman for Trump? What is he bringing to the table that's different from Trump, if anything?
He's bringing religion to the table, which is actually rather scary.
That was a very important question that we kind of laughed about, but I think it's a serious question we got to think about.
Well, it's one that he avoided. He avoided that completely. I mean, Kamala tried to give her resume again. She tried to go down the list of all the things she's done, which is great, but it's not interesting in a debate format.
Yeah, you have to present that differently in a debate.
You have to say, I have experience at the state and national level. Correct. I can handle myself against people like Putin and all these tough guys. Unlike Pence, who disappears, I will be there forefront. She needed to be concise and direct, and she's not.
So day 2, I would assume the leadership role if God will, blah blah blah, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Concise.
Just get to the point.
That's right. We don't have great debaters right now. Basically, we just have one guy who's just freaking nuts, and so he makes everybody look good by comparison.
This is honestly, every time that they speak, every comparison that's made, it just lets me know, this is not a Republican versus Democrat election. This is not there is very real right and wrongs, and I for the first time I really feel like the country is really teetering on the balance of one election.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand some of the Republicans and Democrats the same, but you're right, Keith. I don't think this is a Republican in office. This is just somebody. Mitch is riding that beast all the way to hell. Lindsey, yeah, absolutely.
All of them.
But what's worse is that it's even a fight right now. That's what's worse.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're not going to solve it tonight, and it's rather late, so I think I'm going to call it. I like the format. I enjoyed watching. I enjoyed talking with you guys while I was watching it.
We should do trailers like this.
Oh, this would be great. A trailer, movie.
Yeah, we need to bring back who our technical director is, Griffith Industries.
Yeah, great job.
Great job.
Thank you very much for tonight.
Yeah, I have to say, I just watched an episode of The Boys season 2, and Homelander and Stormfront were getting it on, and it was like, hey, America's screwing white supremacy on this TV show, and I was like, this is really a prescient show.
Yeah, man.
They really knew what they were doing.
Yeah. Wow. They had the foresight to. I mean, I guess they must have done it earlier this year.
Last year,
or maybe late
or
last
early this year, last year. But still, I was just like, I was wide-eyed watching it. I was like, oh my gosh, they're really doing this.
Don't spoil it for Brooks. She's just starting on season 2.
I'm on episode 4, I think.
I'm telling you, I'm watching 4 shows, and they're all freaking crazy. Utopia, the space religion one,
Raised by Wolves.
It's space
religion.
You guys all knew what he was talking about.
Space Protestants.
Space.
They only eat babies on 2 of those shows, so you'll be fine.
Oh my God.
Well, I've seen babies eaten. I've seen babies killed.
Killed.
We just started watching Sabrina with my daughter, so we're back to watching those babies get killed. We're watching, and it's all these shows are freaking just
dark.
They are dark.
They
All
take
right.
they take a piece of your soul after each episode when the credits roll.
That's right. I gotta find a show that revives that purity back in.
Can I suggest
Yes.
90 Day Fiance?
I'm with you. I'm with you there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm so far behind, but that's a good recommendation.
Yeah.
No, it's for us. It's the Property Brothers.
Oh, I love Property Brothers.
Mine is International House Hunters.
Oh,
No.
that's a good one
Nice.
too.
No,
Nice,
Property
nice,
Brothers makes me realize what I'm failing at in my own home.
But they're doing it professionally.
No,
That's
it was
right.
cool the first year I owned my home because I had all these plans in my head.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
year 5, I'm like,
No, it doesn't go anywhere.
where the hell they? Who's their estimator on these projects? That is not $25,000. That's a $150,000 freaking renovation job.
Well, they
Compared
get
to the,
they get TV discount.
yeah.
The TV
Compared to
discount.
the baristas they have on the show, whose budgets are like $500,000, you should be able to budget $7 million.
I live at home with my parents, and I'm I don't know, hot dog vendor.
Yeah.
My budget
that's-
is 700,000.
The biggest thing about is the number of grown adults married with children living in their parents'
In their
basement.
homes.
and it
We
scares
finally
the shit out
outgrew
of
our parents' house because we have 5 kids.
me.
Like, what?
I don't have space in my closet. Yeah, because it's not your closet.
And then the new place must have a walk-in closet. I'm like,
That's
you
right.
came from a place that didn't have any closet at all. Now you're demanding walk-in closets.
Did you see? We just watched one where a pair of brothers bought a house together, and they basically didn't buy a house; they renovated their parents' pool house for these 2 boys,
Yeah.
and they're grown adults, they're grown men, and I was like, oh,
Okay,
this is
hey,
sad.
sorry guys, did we? Maybe I missed Chris. If you asked who we thought won the debate,
Oh, I put it in the chat. I
Sorry,
think Keith also
yeah.
said it too.
yeah,
Kamala. I'm
yeah,
giving her 8-2, 10 rounds.
okay.
yeah, I agree. I don't
Um,
think there was any big push in either direction. I would say 7-3-1. The Fly gets a
Oh yeah,
round.
the fly. You're right. 7-3-1
811 for me.
or 7-2-1 actually. I think.
I'm gonna
7-2-1.
go 8-1-1. Yeah,
Yeah, sounds about right.
because I'm reluctant to even give him one. Really, like,
I think he's just so plain that he doesn't.
dude,
You can't get angry. You get angry almost at the fact that he's just not producing
No,
any adrenaline
dude,
whatsoever.
he's just so like blah, like
Insidious is the word I would
like
use.
a GOP mannequin. Like,
Darth Sidious.
Yeah, he's like the mold. They molded him together, you know.
yeah, like he always comes off to me like he's wearing a skin suit. Like,
The Fly
just-
thought so.
Yeah.
yo, like,
Westworld.
he obviously didn't even feel the fly. Like, it didn't like. Even if a fly's on your hair, you could kind of feel
Oh,
the
yeah, you
movement.
feel that.
Like, you
No, no,
feel
no,
the
no.
movement.
If I have a hair off, I'm like, I can feel that.
Like you're
It's-
sitting there for a whole like 2 minutes with this joint on, like you're not even gonna notice it.
It didn't
like,
even move.
You're not even a real human being. Like you're
You know
not
what?
real.
But Kamala's kind of maybe she couldn't see it, but she should have been like this.
No.
Yo, if she would have did that, that would have been the total move of the night. Like that would have been dope.
I think it was too
No, no,
far. She probably didn't
she-
see it.
No, I
We
wonder
probably
if she,
saw it clearer than she did.
if she could have
Yeah.
mentioned something related to flies. or
Fly
sh-
memes are blowing up on Facebook.
Yeah, I gotta go check those out. All right, it's 11 o'clock. I
Yeah.
still have to work.
Yeah,
we have to work tomorrow.
Some of us got
Thanks.
lives.
Thank you, everyone who joined in to watch with us
Oh.
tonight.
Yeah, thanks to the chat. You guys were getting out there, getting it
Oh,
on.
Yeah.
Still have 5 more
And,
people.
We are going to try and do this
It's
again
still,
next week.
oh, we're still on?
Yeah, we still have
Yeah,
5
we're
people.
still
left.
going.
I
Oh,
think
yeah.
at
I didn't
peak
even
we
realize.
had 16
Like
minus
14?
5, 11 people at peak.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah, so let me so just say we're gonna try and do this again live next week for the next Trump Biden debate, which should be hilarious.
Yeah, we're gonna keep
So-
trying to do the debates like this.
I,
I like it.
honestly, I
Trying to-
honestly hope they don't have it. Like that's,
Yeah.
I really hope it comes down to them not having it. Actually,
Hey,
but it
don't-
would be hilarious.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and catch our audio podcast if you want to listen to our audio on Spotify and iTunes.
Mm.
And don't forget to follow us on social media at Heroes Peak. All
Hey,
right,
Mike,
Chris?
where can they email us if they need to?
Oh, info@heroespeak.com.
Awesome.
Back to you, Chris.
All right, that's it. We're signing off.
Good
Thank
night,
you,
everyone.
everybody. Bye,
All
America.
right.
Bye, America.
God bless America
Bye, bye, YouTube.
and these United States.
That's right.
God bless America and no place.